We are back. My name is Quentin Crisco. I am joined by Steve Letizia and Luke O'Grady. It would probably be helpful if I brought my mic in front of me so it didn't sound like I was in a cave. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good. This will probably be, in my opinion, this might even be more fun than the last stretch. The little back to back at 39 and 41 is really fun. There's a ton of fun prospects still on the board, and I think some positions or some position groups that we kind of imagine the Bears would still probably want to tackle in these early spaces. So the Bears have a really good chance of getting better today.
Yeah, I think so. So when you guys, I'm going to put you on the spot a little here. And I think the best way to do this is just we'll alternate one by one, all three of us. But we'll start with you, Luke.
Yep.
Who's your number one target right now?
We were talking about it in the backstage before we went live, and we were saying how I think edge would be the perfect fit or like the kind of a great position to tackle at this point with the value that's still there. But it is that tough balance of trying to find someone that we think will fit what DA is looking for and we think is worthy of that pick. And I think we kind of agree that most of the guys right now, the most exciting guys left, are kind of more of those like edge bending type edges, not really the go through you type edges that I think DA is looking for. So that's a position I think will be interesting to watch if we see the Bears willing to break from that mold that they typically go for to try and match their valuation with where they're picking, or if they're going to stick to that mold and maybe end up reaching for a player or letting edge go to maybe pick 72 or something like that.
So if you had to choose one player though, what are we thinking?
Well, I guess if we're going to rule out Mike Green, just strictly because it seems like the off-field stuff is serious, he's the best player probably left. I think Donovan Ezraku's take was my favorite. I love Brady Swinson as well. And I think Brady Swinson, despite the size and the way he likes to play, I think of the people left, I think he could probably play what you'd want from DA's guys the best. I think he's got a lot of pop to him. And then I didn't do a ton of defensive tackle work, but I've seen Omar Norman Lott talk about a lot today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Omar Norman Lott. I feel like he's been like a late riser here. But so I'm gonna take that as so. Luke, do you think Ezraku? Do you think do you think Dennis Allen would be interested in him?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. It could. He's not completely small. I think he's like 260, but I think the way that he plays isn't exactly the way that Dennis Allen likes his edges to play. I think it would just be like a good signal from this Bears regime to be a little bit flexible to grab a guy that plays the modern game in a great way.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, this isn't really where I was trying to go with this, but I think this makes for interesting conversation.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? About the scheme that Dennis Allen wants to run with his edges versus the modern play? Like, how do you weigh that? What are your thoughts on it? Like, do you wish that they had a wider alignment that they do, or do you think that would change the kind of the way the defense is structured?
Yeah, I mean, we know that they want bigger defensive ends. I think the rumor about them trading up for Abdul Carter, I think, was real, and they tried to do that. But I think Abdul Carter, even though he's a smaller guy, he's a little bit different because he's such a blue chip player. You can stretch your thresholds a little bit for a guy like that. I don't know if the guys you get in the second round, you're willing to do that as much with, but we know they like bigger defensive ends. So obviously, and like Luke said, like Ezraku, Swinson, Princely, like these guys are a little bit smaller, probably don't fit exactly what DA wants. That being said, I kind of hope that they would, because I think we have Dio, we have Gervon Dexter who can play edge, we have Montez Sweat, we have those bigger edges already in place on the roster. So they can play all those guys on early downs. It'd be nice to get kind of a compliment to them. Like, I mean, Ezraku and Swinson are the two guys I'm kind of looking at, and Princely too. Those three guys, and Scourton too. I think a little bit to that extent. Although he's a little bit bigger, he might fit DA's kind of more. But those kind of four guys, a little bit more athletic, gives you a little bit different kind of look for offenses to handle. And I think when Ben Johnson was hired, one of the first things he said in his press conference was talking about the number one factor of success is QB efficiency. So I think it makes sense to get a guy who directly affects the other team's quarterback. Like, I think you can look at that both ways. Obviously, Caleb Williams' efficiency, but how are we going to affect the opposing quarterbacks? And Ezeraku, Swinson, Princely, like those are guys who can do that off the edge. And I don't know if we have a true, passer. Like Sweat is a good player, but he's not really that guy who's going to be a double digit back every year kind of guy.
Okay, and I ask, and I mean, either of you, please speak up if you feel differently about this. But like throughout this whole process, I've just been like thinking, like, man, why does Dennis Allen like these big monster DNs who can't really bend and can't really get after the passer? And it's like I keep coming back to the idea that like it's because he wants his linebackers to be those guys, right? Like he wants to be able to say, we have 4 monsters up front. They handle the interior rushing lanes. So my linebackers don't have to step up on play action. They don't have to get in the dirt. These can be coverage players first and handle the outside rush lanes, not the interior rush lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, that makes a lot of sense. And especially when I start to think of the fact how much he likes to play with protections, with stunts, and the blitzes here and there that he throws in, those linebackers tend to get home. Demario Davis is getting 5 sacks a year, I feel like, every year, I believe.
Yeah.
I didn't fact check that. But, I mean, so he likes to generate the pressure, not to just have a guy who can naturally get it, which can be a flaw. But I don't know. I keep coming back to this thought that, like, sure, you can take Ezeraku. I don't think he's playing more than 25% of the snaps.
But do you need Ezeraku to play? I think he's a guy who can make an impact with 25% of the snaps.
I mean, that's a great point.
Like you got the guys who can play 75%, and yeah, you're using a second round pick on a guy who plays 25%, but that's going to be year one. Maybe they could grow into a little bit more from there. But I agree with what you're saying 100%. That's what they want, and I think that's going to make. I don't know if they have the exact linebackers that they want to do that with.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think they really have an avenue to get different linebackers. They're kind of stuck with the guys they have, at least for this year. But I think it's also going to help those 2 linebackers as well. I mean, Tremaine Edmonds has been a little bit of a disappointment, but I think it's just an easier position to play because he doesn't have to be crashing down on play action, all the time.
Now, I want to come back to that linebacker question, but first I want to get in the comments here. We have Burke in the comments asking for our expectations for tonight. He's hoping for a trade down. Where are you guys sitting at?
I would love a trade down, especially from 39. It makes so much sense because you have 41. So yeah, you're trading down. You can trade down into the 50s even, but you have that 41 right there. So you're still going to get like that premium guy. Maybe not premium guy, but a pretty good guy. And I think it makes a whole lot of sense. We just mentioned the linebackers. It makes sense for them to add a linebacker. It makes sense for them to add a safety, defensive line, offensive line, running back. Like there are a lot of places they can go, and they just don't have enough picks to do all of that. So if they could just, at the very least, pick up a 4th rounder, I think I was looking at play with it earlier. The Colts at 45 and 117 perfectly matches up with the value of 39. It's an exact even trade. So even just getting 117 would, I think, be really helpful for this team. So that's my thing. Otherwise, I think edge rusher, like we talked about, running back's obviously going to be in play. I really want them to draft an offensive lineman with one of these picks, even if they're not a starter. I think you need to start drafting offensive linemen high every year, and we need to kind of keep this sustainable. And the way you do that, that's got to start now. So I would love to see that as well. That's why another reason we want the trade down, because, like I said, there's a lot of different directions they can go, and there's a lot of different directions they need to go.
Luke, anything to add?
No, I think it seems that Poles seems to hit, he has multiple seconds a lot in his short tenure, and he seems to like to hit these with similar positions. Like he went DB and safety with Kyler Gordon and Brisker, and then he went back-to-back picks with I guess this was the second and third, but he went Gervon Dexter and Pickens. It wouldn't surprise me if they decide to hit a position group hard here. I think they probably need a safety and a running back, so they wouldn't need to do 2 there. I think maybe they would go off 2 offensive line here, or 2 pass rushers here. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and my thoughts are similar to Steve. I want to trade down because I want to walk out of day 2 with a running back, an offensive lineman, a safety, and a defensive lineman. That's one more pick than they have right now. So a trade down makes a lot of sense to me. Now, we also have Lucas in the chat asking us to talk a little bit about our thoughts on Eman Ware. Luke, Did you watch much of Eman Wari?
Yeah, I watched him even more. I tried to do as much of the safety class as I could, and I'm not very high on Evan Wari. I kind of get the same vibes that I got with Kaylee Ringo, which I think honestly I was vindicated with. Was that like he just like I don't know if the way he plays the game is going to work at the NFL level. He does not have very good change of direction. I think he benefits unlike Kaylee Ringo, and that Ringo, if you're going to be a cornerback in the NFL, you have to have good change of direction. If you want to play him as a strong safety and then creep him up into cover 2 and keep the game in front of him, you might be able to get an all right player out of him. But he wasn't even in my top 5 safeties in this class. I think he's a couple cheeseburgers away from being a linebacker, to be honest with you.
Now, when we think about like Dennis Allen's defense, though, like they had Von Bell for years, right? Von Bell's more that box safety type.
Yep.
Do you think he kind of fits in that mold, or is it something where you think he can? I don't know. Where do you see him fitting?
Yeah,
in the Bears defense?
He would be a box safety, 100%. He would probably play the role that Brisker plays, what they would want Brisker to play. And again, unlike Kaylee Ringo, I think if you want to play him strictly as a strong safety, box safety, you might be able to get some good play out of him, especially if you're Dennis Allen and you're moving him around and using him as a chess piece. But I don't know. I just didn't get the greatest game sense. I thought he just kind of athletic his way around, and his change of direction wasn't great. I think that's why he didn't do like change of direction stuff at the combine.
Yeah, that all makes sense, and I mean I kind of agree with that. I didn't love his tape. I saw some of the athleticism showing on there where it was like, as far as him being like a difference-making run defender, I saw some of that with his ability to get horizontal fast and cut off horizontal rush lanes. It was like, okay, I see the value there.
Yeah, totally.
But like in coverage, I didn't think he played very fast.
He's unreal at pass rushing too, honestly, from like the edge. He's got all that explosion stuff and could be used as a fun like player type. It just I think you got to match.
Well, that kind of brings me back a little bit to the question of like the 4 defensive linemen that Dennis Allen wants is so he can condense zones in tighter and create like an easier coverage job for a guy like Eman Wari, while he can be a real difference maker as a run defender, especially on those outside run lanes. Like I can kind of see the fit there. Doesn't mean I like it, but I can kind of see the fit,
Yeah.
Then we have Scott in here asking about a trade down from 39 to 50. So I've got this draft tech little thing in here. Let's see, 39. Jimmy Johnson chart is worth 510. 50, so we got 110 point differential. That's roughly the 98th or 97th pick in the draft is the difference. So better than 5th.
No, that's a 3rd, right? With comp picks.
Late 3rd to early 4th is kind of what you're looking at.
Yeah. Carson Schwarzenegger to the Browns for the 30th.
Wow.
I like that pick.
Is that the linebacker?
The linebacker from UCLA. I really liked him. His tape.
Did you see that on Twitter? Did you see that on TV?
That was just on the broadcast. Yeah.
Man, the broadcast is already so far ahead of mine. What the hell?
All right.
I was looking on Twitter. It popped up on the broadcast before it actually came up on Twitter. But I like that pick.
I don't know if I was early on the Schlesinger train, and like I was like, this dude can go day 2. I was like, but I don't know if he can go early day 2 because like he's 220 pounds.
Yeah.
A broadcast says he's 242. How do you feel about him if he's 242?
I mean, I just don't know if he's 242.
I mean, that's what he weighed in at. He weighed in at the combine 242 and ran at the combine. So
yeah, I mean, he ran at it. So yeah, then I actually feel pretty good about it at that point. Like thinking as you say it that way, yeah, I do feel good.
Wow, that's a rep.
Because I know he can run it that way.
Yeah. I think
oh wait, no, he didn't do the 40. He did the agility.
Oh, he did do the 40. Sorry.
In the explosives, he didn't do the 40.
Whoa.
Kind of going back to Eman Wari just for a second. I think the reason that question was asked, just so everyone knows, like that Albert Breer did report that the Bears are interested in Eman Wari. So just to kind of give some context to that, like I think that is a real possibility. Jaden Higgins to the Texans. They don't need any offensive linemen. They're just going to throw the ball.
I mean, I'm just glad that some of the wide receivers are going to get going here.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's two guys the Bears probably weren't drafting, so I think that's a good start so far.
Very good. I mean, and there was rumors that 33 was going to be your boy Travion. So
Yeah, which I think Trayvon. I mean, we didn't really talk about the running backs, but I think I'd be very surprised if one of these 3 picks today is not a running back. I'd be
Me
very
too.
very surprised. And I know we have different opinions on Travion, but I think he would absolutely be in play at 39.
You know,
41 if they're on the clock.
I've noticed a trend in this whole conversation of it's like either you think Travion sucks and Quinshawn is good, or vice versa, and that's not the case. Like I have Travion and Quinshawn neck and neck in grade. So like I mean, I'm fine with Travion as the pick. I just like Quinshawn more. That's
fair.
I was watching some more Travion today, just like prep myself for this, and I was like, the guy's explosive as all get out. He's gonna have explosives in the NFL. My question is more consistency than anything as a runner.
Sure, makes sense. Yeah, and I don't hate. I think Quinshawn was like my running back 5, and Henderson was 3, so they're close. I mean,
yeah. I feel like this whole
both
conversation is driven by
play.
people who don't actually have rankings, and it's like, they're neck and neck on a lot of boards.
Right. So both those guys are in play for sure at these 2 picks. I don't think neither of them will be. Well, I would say neither of them will be available at 72. So if you want one of those 2 guys, you got to pick them here.
Now we have Scott in the comments asking about Will Johnson, and have you guys paid any attention to like what the conversation is with Will Johnson with like the supposed surgery he had and maybe degenerative knee something? Or...
Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to that because I didn't think the Bears were going to go with Will Johnson in the first round, so I didn't really even watch him too much. But even from what I saw from him, the tape was good, not great. I think that's another reason he's kind of falling other than the injury. I also didn't think there were not many reps of press man on tape, and I know Dennis Allen wants press man corner, so I just don't think that he's going to be really on their radar.
Me too. I was just asking because I had the tweet.
Titans traded the pick to the Seattle. I thought it was going to be the Bears. So Seattle's on the clock.
God, I hope they don't trade. They need to trade now.
Is it a run on receiver here? Did they go get Kyle Williams? Or did they get Luther Burden here?
I bet. Yeah, they seem like they probably would want Higgins, but he's gone, so I don't know who they're trading.
Oh wait, so sorry. Titans are on the clock. Maybe this is O-line.
Could be. So just for reference, so Tennessee traded number 35 to Seahawks, who had 52 and 82. So that's kind of what you were looking at if the Bears traded from 39 to 55. I'd say you'd be looking at like a pick in the 80s or 90s, probably in the 90s, early 90s in that situation.
Yeah, that seems about right to me. And that's the type of thing too, where it's like, maybe you could get into the 80s or the 70s if you throw in 149,
right.
Assuming the other team wants it.
I think the Seahawks might be trading up for a quarterback, potentially. I know they got
that would be sick, man.
But
Dick Hammer's grandson.
I 100% would take Jalen Miller over Stuart Sanders. 100%. I think that.
What about Tyler Sherry?
Oh no! It's good news, guys. Good news, guys. It's Emin Wari. So they jumped the Bears to get Emin Wari.
That's honestly.
Yeah.
I remember thinking while I was watching Emin Wari.
I mean, that's Cam Chancellor 2.0, right? That's at least the idea behind it for Seattle.
I was thinking Kyle when I was watching Emin Wari, I was like, someone's going to say I can make this into Kyle Hamilton. And who better than the guy who drafted Kyle Hamilton?
I actually think,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Good. Keep them.
All right. We're looking good.
Love it.
I think we're looking good.
I actually love it when other teams draft Emin Wari. That's awesome.
That's how I felt when the Saints drafted Kelvin Banks at 9. I was like,
dude, when the Packers took Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah.
God. I actually didn't mind.
What do we think about the Packers? Matt Golden. I didn't watch much of him.
Luke, this is all you.
You remember? You like him, Luke?
Yeah, he's fine. He's a good player. Honestly, it didn't feel like he was a 4.29 player. If you watch the tape, you're like, that's crazy. But he's nice. Like, he plays bigger than he is. He's honestly like, it almost feels like a little faster Anthony Miller, which you could probably do a lot with that.
Yeah, faster. I mean, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, he's got nice hands. He can attack the ball. He's good on the scramble drill. I feel like sometimes, especially near the end of the season, he was jumping a lot into his catches, which is funny because the start of the season, he was like doing a great job at like staying grounded through his catch to make more of it. Just started jumping all over the place. But down the stretch, like he was their hero for like Texas.
Yeah.
Like they just completely abandoned everyone else and were just straight going to him and Gunnar Helm.
Mhm.
And he played good. Like he was good down the stretch.
I think an under the radar guy for the Bears right now, and this is completely off the wall and just me kind of hoping, but I think the Bears could draft Jared Wilson from Georgia, the center. I know they just signed obviously Drew Dahlman, but I think Jared Wilson is good enough where you can take a chance on him, and maybe he can play even guard too. But I think he's going to be so good and is going to be a star center in this league that I would take him, and I think that's something that's not being talked about enough. Drew Dahlman's essentially on a 2-year contract, so you can kind of let him sit for 2 years, kind of like what the Eagles did with Cam Jurgens. They drafted Cam Jurgens in the second round when they still had Jason Kelsey. He sat for 2 years, and now he just got a huge extension. So I think
Wilson did play a little, like not more than 50 snaps, but like he did play a little guard his first few years at Georgia.
He's got enough size. He's got power. Like I have no worries about his anchor, at guard or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it makes sense. I don't think it's talked about enough, but I'm kind of secretly hoping for that.
Doing that,
I think he's going to be really good.
So someone I've never fact checked this, but I tried to. I couldn't find any good info, but someone told me that the other Georgia guy, Tate Ratledge, has played center before.
Yeah, I think
hey everybody, don't be spoiling.
Browns went Junkins, Quinshawn Junkins to the Browns. So there's one running back off the board.
Guy.
So that is someone the Bears were probably considering.
Yeah, we are. Oh wait, who was it that?
They haven't even announced
the Browns.
The Seahawks pick on my screen yet.
Yeah, I mean this is all on Twitter. It's not the broadcast. I'm seeing this is all on Twitter. Yeah.
And by the way, we're all for. I'm all for spoiling picks. I want to get them on our board as fast as possible.
Oh, yeah. Someone also mentioned in the chat Quinshawn Browns. Yeah, people in the chat.
Dang.
Throw it in there too.
No, don't.
I don't mind the spoiler.
Right,
I like the
spoilers.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I figure that's one of our only advantages over the broadcast, right?
Yeah,
ahead of it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, only a couple picks away. What else? Yeah, who else? Anyone else you guys are thinking of? Yeah, kind of hoping maybe like a dark horse pick for the Bears here. Maybe someone that's not being discussed a lot. Kyle Williams. It'd be interesting to go tight end, wide receiver. I think the Bears Twitter might like riot, like build the trenches. They're just getting playmakers.
I feel like that would be ugly.
That'd be kind of a luxury pick. If they didn't draft Loveland, if they went any other position, I'd be all for Kyle Williams here. But yeah, we know they're going to be running a lot of 12 personnel, so your third wide receiver is not getting on the field.
And like, man, when you watch the offense, like the Ben Johnson offense in Detroit, it's pretty underrated how much of that engine was Jameson Williams, like making the whole defense have to respect the play in a different way. And I don't know if we have that deep threat right now. And I actually think he is probably one of the best deep threats in this class. His top end speed is just so darn fast, it's like he's gliding.
Well, yeah, another thing is I don't know if this is actually true, but it's just kind of like a feel from watching a lot of Bears and a lot of Lions games. I feel like the Lions rotated the receivers more than the Bears did last year. The Bears, like DJ Moore, like Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, they rarely came off the field. Like I felt like I don't know if this is like I feel like with Ben Johnson, he probably wants you to run your routes at full speed, and then if you need a breather, get the next guy in there for a few plays. I feel like he's more willing to do that than Shane Waldron was. So drafting, getting another, more wide receivers is not necessarily off the table, but I'd be surprised if it's the wide receiver.
I got a dark horse. Andrew Makuba.
There you go.
I would love it.
I think he could go this early. Like
Seriously,
we have him 18th on our board. We kind of rocked. Like our board was pretty well, like not much was in our second round territory here. It was like our first round guys were for the most part the first the first guys off the board, which tells me we're not that far off on Mukuba.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a great pick. We need
Cool
to
would be
save-
awesome. I would love that so much.
But I mean, I think that's the only one that would really shock me. I wonder, like, if they didn't go with Loveland already, I think Kyle Williams would make more sense. But like, if you're running a bunch of 12, are you going to invest heavily in the third wide receiver now too? Like, I just think that's kind of
yeah.
counter.
Especially you
productive.
have what's his name? Olumide Zacchaeus or whatever.
Yeah,
You get him.
he's nice.
He's a solid third wide receiver, especially if you're going to be running a lot of 12 personnel and he's just kind of seeing the field sparingly. I'm still not ready to give up on Tyler Scott. Maybe I should, but I'm not ready.
a
So
bunch of smart football people aren't.
yeah, I think with Ben Johnson, I mean, we all acknowledge that Shane Waldron and the offensive coaching staff was bad last year, but the only person who gets a break is Caleb Williams. I think we need to give other people breaks too in that offense, and I'm willing to give Tyler Scott one more chance. I'm probably going to look stupid for that, but I'm willing to do it. Especially I mean, when I say another chance, I'm talking about fourth wide receiver role. I think that's a good role for him.
So I was listening to a Hogan Johns episode, and they had Brugler on, and Brugler was asking them like, what happened to my guy Tyler Scott? Like, why can't
He was high on Tyler Scott.
Yeah, and Hogue said it's 50-50 balls. He can't catch a 50-50 ball, and I was like, he can't, but I'm not sure if that's the problem.
Yeah,
But, like, I can kind of see where that's coming from.
Scott. Like,
Yeah.
you're missing the point.
Yeah.
But then it got brought up on the Athletic Football Show, and Robert Mays was talking about it, and it's kind of along the same lines as that, but it was deep ball tracking. He really struggles at tracking the deep ball was Mays' theory. I was like, I can kind of see how you feel like that's 50-50 balls, but like it kind of works on both angles of looking at it, but it's more plausible to me. So that's my like curiosity of like, if he's a deep threat who doesn't track the ball well, how much better can that get?
Yeah. Here's a fun one. The Giants announced their starter.
Wait, they announced what?
Dart?
They announced their starter. Nope, not Jackson Dart.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Russ.
That's gonna be an interesting QB room.
It's a great way to buy yourself another year of football.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's the coach's back. Like, hey, if we just keep him on the bench,
We're
No,
coming to
hey,
this.
You guys remember when Matt Nagy tried that?
how'd that work out for him?
Put the kid in.
Man, so Judkins the Browns is interesting because my ceiling comp for him was Nick Chubb. Like that's I like that for them.
Got another trade. The Dolphins are on the clock. The Dolphins traded with the Raiders, so the Dolphins jumped the Bears and the Patriots.
The Dolphins
They were
did?
taken. The Dolphins are on the Dolphins at
People are
37.
moving.
They
up,
could go
nope.
tackle. They could go like Ursery maybe.
They have
They
to
need
go
to-
on the board. Yeah. Would you guys want Ursery if he's there?
I'd
I'd
take
be okay
Ursery.
with Ursery. I think there's issues with him. I mean, anyone you get at 39, you're going to have some issues, but I think there's enough there, especially in the run game, where you can feel good about him at 39.
He's
I don't know
such
if
a
he's
good
ever going to be a really
athlete.
good pass protector, at least at tackle. But we've talked about moving him inside to guard too, which I think we both like him there.
I mean,
so
I
think he kind of
yeah.
gives you some flexibility. I like it.
You put him in a Mekhi Becton guard, like a guard in the style of like a Mekhi Becton. Obviously, no one's Mekhi Becton, but like there's been a resurgence of these jumbo size guards like Daniel Falele and like
It's Jonas Avenea, my guy to the Dolphins.
okay,
That's a bummer.
that is he went early.
I'm telling you, Q, he's good. He's worth
I mean,
the 7th overall pick.
I know we have differing opinions on him, but like I was prepared for him to go earlier than I would take him. I wasn't prepared for him to go this early.
What
I
were
thought
you
he'd go
thinking?
in the 50. I thought he'd go around pick 50-ish.
No,
Yeah, that's kind of where my head was at.
didn't even make it to the 40s.
I'm
I
shocked
would've
he
loved
went over Ursery.
I don't know. I really liked him. I liked him from the very beginning, the first time I watched him. Like, I think he has, like I said, anyone you get now has some issues. But
Well,
I think
boys.
all of his issues are corrected by moving full inside to guard full time, I believe.
Do you guys
That
remember
is now-
ever like being away from a television for the draft when you were young and how hard it was to like get that update? You had
Yeah.
to like, refresh like NFL.com.
Yeah.
Man, they so that is now I think 9 of my top 12 offensive linemen are gone.
Dang.
Like if the Bears want O-line, they might have to do it at 39 here.
Yeah. I think
Oh
Ertz makes
man,
sense.
I
mean,
just think if they sit and pick and they just go like Nick Sorton and like Omar Norman Lott like back to back, I just think that completely changes the look of your pass rush for the next 3 years.
I still like, even if those guys are on the board, I'm still kind of on team trade back, but because I think like if you're on 39 and all those guys we just discussed are on the board, one of them is going to be available at 41. So,
it would be funny if the Bears talked all this stuff about how wild the draft is going to be, and then they just sit and pick 3 times.
No trades. Yeah, no trades. Yeah.
I mean, so if is what 39, 40, 40. So there needs to be 4 players the Bears are comfortable with.
Oh no.
Say they're good trading back, right? Like at least for one of them.
Luther Burden's still on the board. Brady Swinson's still on the board. Travion Henderson will be on the board.
Yeah, we still got these guys up here too. Ursary, Nakuba, Amos.
Yeah, Amos is nice, man. He really is.
I like Amos a lot. I mean, I think the Bears are in trade down city right now. Like because you have 41.
Yeah.
Unless all these teams are trying to jump the Bears and no one is like willing to trade up with the Bears.
Yeah, I mean that is really what it comes out. I think they want to go down, but it just
this is going to be the bedrock of like the first of what the roster will be like for Ben Johnson's like first couple of years and first with Caleb Williams. Like
these are the guys who set the tone for Ben Johnson's era.
Yeah, man, they really do have to nail these.
Yeah, I think who do you think the Patriots are going with? They got a left tackle now.
They got to go receive like Luther Burden.
Receiver. Yeah, Luther Burden.
Oh, they probably feel so good about getting Luther Burden now.
But they got Javon Baker. They don't need these other bums.
Don't ever forget about it.
He will be. I'm still another guy I still believe in. Maybe I should stop scouting.
And they got Jalen Pohl.
Yeah.
Well, Jalen Pohl, he's a bum.
My final wide receiver grade, every receiver I had above Burden other than Kyle Williams is gone. The only guys I had above him were
could be Kyle Williams for the Patriots.
I had Burden at 6, and I had Golden, Tet, Egbuka, Higgins, and Kyle Williams above him. Dude, if they would take Kyle Williams here, I actually think it would be a home run pick.
Wait, have you guys seen what the trades have been? Because like Burke here is making it sound like teams have been making a killing trading down right now.
Oh, if that's the case, then even more so. I think anyone you can get a trade down is going to be. Oh shoot!
Seahawks just did the. We can hear yourself. Seahawks just did that trade down.
Yeah, we
basically traded a second for a second and a third. Like that's unreal.
Wow. Wait, so 2 seconds and a third?
No, so they swapped seconds and picked up a third, and it's like usually that would be like a fifth, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about how it's like 90, so you're talking like late third to go back 11 spots. That was our our math there.
I think if you can jump down with one of your seconds to stay in the second and pick up another third, that's unreal. Like I think in this class, that's unreal.
And they say
I definitely
gave up a 2.
I know there's
4 for a 2-5.
I know there's some good players on the board, but trade down 39.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's weird. See what? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a. If you can get that,
an extra third would be good. Yeah.
Hell, I would even trade back just like a couple spots to pick up 4th. Like that's fine with me too. You don't need another third was great, but if you
there's not another 125
from 72 to 148. That's so long to wait. Yeah. Like I want that 4th round pick. But a third, I mean, obviously would be ideal.
Dang, Nick Chubb channels right now, man. Sorry, bud. You get it right.
But at the same time, though, like I kind of do feel that if Henderson's there at 39, Travion Henderson, I think he'll be the pick. Is mine.
Yeah, if they're not trading out, I kind of think that's. I
like Travion Henderson.
He's just that's a Ben Johnson running back through and through. I feel like. But
see, I don't know. Like, who do you think Ben Johnson values more? Valued more? The Jahmyr Gibbs or the David Montgomery?
Well, that's a good question. I just know that Ben Johnson wants speed, and Travion Henderson gives you speed. And I know that like people always say that like, oh, well, you got DeAndre Swift, they're too similar. Yeah, that they would fill a similar role, that's for sure. I just don't think DeAndre Swift and it alters your draft plans in any way.
Well, and here's where I'm
I think
like,
if
I
you have Henderson higher on your board than another running back, you don't pick the lower running back because you have DeAndre Swift.
I expect him to draft 2 backs.
That
Like
wouldn't surprise me.
I think they draft a speed guy and a a meat and potatoes guy, and it's just a question of which one is going early and which
Trevian
one
Henderson
late.
to the Patriots. Trevian Henderson to the
Ooh.
Patriots. So
Yeah, type that
kind of a
combo,
moot
man.
point.
Wow, dude.
I like that. I mean, I like that pick for them too. They got
Yeah.
Will Campbell, they
It's a
get
great pick for
Henderson.
them,
Like
yeah,
they're surrounding. They need a wide receiver still, but that they're doing what they need to do for Drake May. They're making it easy on him. So, and I mean, Trevian Henderson is essentially a receiver. Like the guy's a good receiver out of the backfield. So
This has
Bears
got
on
to
the
be
clock, though.
Ursary
Bears on the
or Scorton, right?
It could be Caleb Johnson. I don't like that, but I mean,
It's
if
too early for
Oh,
him.
I know.
the Bears are on the clock.
Yeah, Bears on the clock.
It's got I feel like it's got to be one of those two.
Ursary, Scarton. Yeah, that's.
I think the Bears could kind of go in. It'll be interesting to see. Actually, this could be.
I'd also
telling
be
about
okay
the
with them
direction of
trading
Ben
back
Johnson.
from this still.
Yeah, I'm very much rooting for a trade back here.
You might
Do
not
you
get
take- do you
Ursary or Scorton
Yeah,
with
do
the
you
trade back.
take this
but,
one
like,
and then trade the next one just to make sure that you take whoever you like here, or do you say, hey,
I'd-
we have a couple guys
I'd
we
trade-
like here?
I'd trade this. Like just because I think that they're like you have a few players who are like clearly a tier above. So if you're willing to trade it, like trade one, to me, that's the one that's going to get you more value back.
I mean,
Okay.
you might have another team like trading up. I mean, do the Broncos kind of trade up for a running back? Like they need a run. Oh no, who did they draft? Did they go Hampton? Can't even remember. No, they went with someone else.
Yeah.
So like they could. I mean, they're a team that needs a running back. 2 running backs just went off the board. Like they could try and trade. Give the Bears something to get a running back.
I'll be right back.
They got Jahdae Barron.
Yeah. So I think they really need a running back. So that makes sense. I don't know where exactly the Broncos are picking, but that could make sense. I'm refreshing Twitter like crazy right now.
Yeah, I'm just opening Twitter. Let's see. Hopefully they're working the phones.
Yeah. I mean, when they came on the clock in the first round, they turned that pick in so quickly, which I feel like the NFL hates. But that polls is like always like he did the same thing last year with Odunze. The pick was in like right away. They told him to wait on Caleb, but at 9 the pick was in right away.
Yeah.
We got something? Oh no, never mind. I saw something say Scourton, like in all caps on Twitter, and I was like, do they take Scourton? But that was just them wanting Scourton.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're sticking Scour, it's hard to
He makes
pass on
sense.
Scorton here.
Scourton's, yeah, Ursary, those 2 guys, but like, I think you could trade back. One of them will be at 41.
Do you think they like, because like, so what,
I
you're
mean-
going to have 4 picks or 3 picks, you'll have 39, 40. Yeah. So you just 2 guys, you need the last 2 more.
Yeah, what are the
Is
odds that
there
it goes?
a third
Scourton,
guy you feel
Ursary?
really good about though?
There's got to be. I mean, yeah,
Swinson?
Swinson. I don't know if they feel good about Swinson, but I feel good about Swinson. But yeah, I mean, the Bears are on clock. There's 2.5 minutes to go. They are clearly trying to trade this pick.
Well, and I mean, especially to me, there's so many defensive ends you're okay with in this class.
Yeah.
But like this class it almost feels like this edge class was built for Dennis Allen. Like there are a lot of guys I'm just fine with them getting. So trading back becomes that much easier because I'm really just talking Ursary at that point. As much as I like
For
Scorpion.
sure. 2 minutes. Yeah, the Bears are trying to do something.
Yeah.
I hope they pull it off, man. Come on. Let's get more picks.
Nick saying they're gonna redraft Jack Sanborn. The Cowboys legend. It's hilarious that he followed Flues.
Yeah. So predictable.
Oh man, they're making us wait this out. I'm like pins and needles right now.
I know, dude.
I wasn't this
I think
nervous in the
they're gonna be
first
trying to-
round. The first round didn't feel as high stakes. It was just kind of like,
Yeah, I
you know,
know, right?
I'm here. Like it just we'll see what they do. But like this one, there's actually like guys that I'm like, I want this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I didn't feel like they could really do wrong in round one. I was like, there's a lot of good options. They'll pick
Yeah.
good. Like now, I feel like there's guys that I don't want, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh man, come on, trade the pick. I think it's gonna get traded. They wouldn't be still. They're not like still debating who they can't be.
Yeah.
They're trying to. Although it looks someone's on the phone in the Bears war pick is in. Yeah, here we go.
Oh boy.
Who is that? That's Antoine Randall is on the phone, I think, talking to someone. That's interesting.
Oh boy.
Is that him? That would be interesting.
I've got my group chat open because I know
Unless-
it'll get dropped in there very fast.
I think that's Antoine Randall, the goatee.
Yeah, I haven't even seen their room.
The Bears select Luther Burden.
Wow.
That is a shocker.
Really?
What? I mean,
okay, that's interesting.
that's very, very interesting. We know they're going to be in 12 personnel a lot. So how often is Luther Burden seeing the field? I mean, we know Ben Johnson likes run after the catch guys. Like there's a run after the catch guy. I just don't know how that's all. How are you going to get all these people on the field at the same time? Unless Kmet. I mean, the only logical thing would be Kmet is basically just a backup tight end now.
Kmet's gonna be gone in a year. That's what this tells me.
And you're just going best player available.
Either that or DJ Moore's gonna be gone. I think. I mean, I don't know. We'll ask Luke when he gets back.
Yeah.
DJ Moore's my comp for Luther Burden. I'm kind of confused by this. I think they are very similar players, which maybe that's a good thing. But
I'm very shocked. Like I don't necessarily hate it. I just don't think that I'm just so surprised by it. Like I think he's a good player. I just don't know exactly how they're going to get all this to fit.
Yeah.
But I no excuse for the offense. I mean, man, I don't know. I don't know about this one.
Now you have to trade back 41.
Yeah.
I don't think you have an option.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you have to know, I hope that obviously, they have deals in place ahead of time for trades, handshake deals. That if my guy's here and they have an inkling of whose guy is, but they don't actually know. I hope they have a pretty solid deal in place already, because this is a tough pick for me to swallow if they don't, because you need a future left tackle. You had Ursary sitting there. I'm not sure if he is the future left tackle, but he might be the future right guard. He might be the future left guard.
Right.
Like you had edge rushers all over the board. You have high-end running backs. You've used premier picks on wide receivers 2 years in a row when the O-line has stayed an issue and you don't have difference makers on your defensive line.
Yeah.
That's tough for me. That just I like Burden. I don't love Burden. I like Burden, but
I'm in the same boat on
tough to
the
swallow.
prospect. I mean, I think he's a prospect that's worth the 39th overall pick. If we just want to,
he's 24th on our board.
Yeah, like it's probably even like a little bit of a steal in terms of the prospect itself. It's just the fit is very confusing. But yeah, I mean, we have a bona fide. He's your Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, this is the guy. I think, and I do wonder what it means for DJ Moore. Do you know what happened?
Yeah, I just watched.
Oh, okay. How do you feel? What are your thoughts?
I like him. He was my, other than Kyle Williams, who I knew I was higher on. He was my next best wide receiver on the board. I thought I had a second round grade on him, and I thought the talk of him being like the second or third receiver off the board was a little bit crazy, but his tape is nice. Like he's kind of that similar to that Anthony Miller type, like the high end projections. Something like Odell Beckham, kind of that style of play. Odell Beckham probably a little bit more explosive, but that style of play, does really good against zone. I felt like his zone feel was really good and nice sure hands.
I comped him to DJ Moore. Is that off base?
No, I think that's a great
okay. Local guy, kind of from St. Louis. He played high school ball at East St. Louis, so he played his senior year of high school ball at East St. Louis, so in Illinois. Interesting.
So I had Burden wide receiver 4, so he was my top rated wide receiver on available. So again, the value is good, the player is good. It's just the fit. My only question. They're we have so many other needs.
We have so many offensive weapons. It's absurd.
Yeah, they must feel really good about either Braxton Jones
Amagaji.
or Karan Amagaji. Like they have to.
I think they feel really good about Amagaji based on what Pohl said and Rauscher said the other day.
Yeah, it's
I don't
probably
know
fair.
if I
mean,
love that, but like if he
even
works, he works.
But do they feel good about their defensive line? Because they probably shouldn't. But I guess you do have a pick at 41. So if you get like Scourton at 41 here, or like you said, I think trade back from 41 now makes a lot of sense. And I think maybe what they were doing would take a long time is they didn't expect Burden to be here. So they were like, well, we had a trade in place to trade back from 39, but now like things have changed. We got to get this guy kind of situation. Man, that is I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I am for sure buying Madden this year because the Bears are going to be so much fun to play in Madden. Like so many weapons.
Guys, we have like 6 players in our top like 50 who don't have scouting reports, and Luther Burden is one of them. So excuse me while I just like want to scream into oblivion.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
We'll get something out.
Yeah, we'll get something out. It was not. I mean, wide receiver in this range of the draft just wasn't on our radar. We didn't think that we had to spend our resources elsewhere, which I think makes sense.
Yeah,
from that standpoint.
Yeah, no, I think it was very logical. But
tight end and wide receiver. I put the Bears up in the draft.
Wow.
I also have to watch more of Luther Burden because, like I said, I mean, I watched like a curse review on a lot of guys, and like Burden was one of like, okay, I got to watch a few games just based on understanding. Now I got to go back and watch them all because I just did not expect this one at all.
Luke, did you think he's as fast as he ran?
He can kind of stretch the field. I think he ran like a 4.42, something like that.
Let's see.
He's not really a field stretcher, which is I think if they needed a wide receiver, that's kind of what they would go with. Like Williams to me made more sense to.
He's not terrible, honestly. Like as far as like that stretch slot, like he could do that for you. If you were asking him, he would be more athletic than Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's probably not as shifty as Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you could get a lot of the stuff out of the slot from him that you got out of St. Brown, to be honest.
He's good friends with Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
The Saints. Who do the Saints go? Saints go with
Maybe
Tyler
Ben knows him from that.
Quarterback for the Saints.
Tyler Shuck.
They went Tyler Shuck, eh? Oh shit!
Bears are now
Tech
back
legend,
on the clock.
Tyler Shuck.
Tyler Shuck. Okay.
Has he played for like every team in college football?
Yeah.
I gotta go experience the Bears pick the pure way. I'll be back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, no, Tyler Shuck. He was at Oregon, then Texas Tech, then someplace else than Louisville, I think. He could never stay healthy.
Yeah. He's close to collecting his retirement. His 401k is going to be cashing out soon. All right, Bears on the clock. What do we do here? I mean, we talked about the trade down. I think that's my vote right now. Otherwise, Ursery is still on the board. So like those are your guys. Now I think normally I would say let's go defense, but I think with all these weapons, you need to maximize that investment. So getting a tackle makes a lot of sense. You need
to trade down, I think.
But I think, I don't know.
I mean, in theory, they don't need a defensive lineman. I need you to get a defensive tackle in this class because I think next year's defensive tackle class is going to suck. You only have one long-term piece right now.
All the good ones are in this one. So next year, logically, is
going to might even be the next 2 years. It's going to be rough.
It's going to be rough because there was a lot of guys who were like young, who declared, who normally you expect those guys to stay in next year. So
like, I thought you need a D tackle in this class, and if you want a D tackle, you need to trade down because
you also
need to draft it here.
You also need a running back, unless you're planning on playing Luther Burden at running back, which maybe that's something they can play around with. But
well, that's why I say you need it. You need it here or trade down because like you need the running back too. You can go running back here, but then you still. I really want you to get a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Thank God.
So
they moved back far. They moved back.
All right. Far. Okay. Nice. I like that. I'm better with the Burden. So we got what?
They moved back to 62, which is worth 284 from 40. So that's almost that's 206 points. So they had to get the equivalent to 77th pick back, something like that.
So did the Bills have more picks?
Let's see what the Bills had.
Bears traded.
They traded, yep. They traded to 62. The Bills traded way up, so we might get like a next year's like second,
Second?
Yeah, it might be. They didn't. I don't know. I don't think the Bills.
or even like next. I don't know. Could we? Is it possible you get next year's first? I know that's insane, but like,
Bears traded back to 62.
yeah, I'm sure we'll have the details pretty soon here. But I like the fact that they traded on. I think that makes a lot of sense. Oh, here we go. Bills traded 56, 62, and 109 to Chicago. Oh, to Chicago for 41, 72, and 240. So we traded
Okay.
72. So we got 56. We traded up from 72 to 62, and we got 109. That's a good trade. I like that.
Okay, I like that a lot. So now we no longer have 72 or 41. We now have 56, 62, and 109.
109.
Right?
Yep. So you basically you traded up 10 spots from 72
it.
to 62, and you got pick
I
109.
love that.
I like that trade a lot. That's nice. So now we got some time in between here. We got about 15 picks before we're back on the clock. So now
Boys,
you
my
get
heart's racing.
62. There's O-line running back, or no, I'm sorry, or a D-line running back. I think there's gonna be a running back in there. And then now we got 109. Oh man, I'm really happy with that trade. We also gave up 240. I didn't say that
72.
before, but like, who
Oh,
cares
we
about
gave
240?
240.
Who cares? But just to get a full view of everything. But yeah, who cares about that?
That's Sean Dolak, man.
Oh man, if we miss out on Sean Dolak because of this, I'm out. I'm a fan of whatever team drafts Sean Dolak. Although he could be an undrafted free agent, that'd be even better. All right, who are the Bills trading up for here? Scourton, maybe? Ursery? No, I don't know. They gave up a lot, so I want to see what the value is.
DJ Moore, Romo Dunes,
41 to 56, 62, 109, and we gave up 72 and 240. So that is, we actually gave up more value than we got in return, by the way. That's a little interesting.
Really?
Yeah, we gave up 721 points in value. We got 700 points in value. But I still like the trade. We got an extra pick out of it essentially, and we moved up from 72. So I still think it's worth it.
It's weird that we had to throw in 240 when we were given value.
Yeah,
Like, not that I don't care, but like that's
right.
That's weird, right?
Yes, no, agree.
Interesting. Or like, I wonder
if maybe that also, it's possible that's not the full trade. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we also got like a pick next year.
Interesting. Oh well,
Like
the value's a little off, but that's fine.
Yeah,
like I'm happy with the trade. I think in this class especially, I'm good with that.
Yes, because you're gonna get a decent player at 109.
Yeah, I wanted an extra pick in the top 125. You got it. Like,
and also, I think there's real value in moving up from 72 to 62 in this draft. Like the guys right in that 55 to 65 range. That's a sweet spot.
And if there's not someone they really like at 109, I do feel like that's a valuable pick at the start of day 3, where you could trade down again. We've seen them trade down from the top of the 4th before. I tend to think it's a really nice spot to be at the top of the 4th to pick, because I think you have all night to think it through and be like, okay, this is, and like really find a guy who just kind of fell out of day 2. But we'll see.
Another thing is
we gave 41.
We got 41, 72, and 240. We got 56, 62, and 109. Another thing is, though, we know Ryan Poles sucks at drafting in the 3rd round, so we avoided that altogether and just got out of the 3rd and into the 2nd.
Who has he drafted in the 3rd? Zach Pickens,
Velus Jones.
Let's see.
Who the Bill?
Karan Amagaji, Zach Pickens, Velus Jones. That's it.
Man, the Panthers trade, we ended up getting DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Tyree Stevens, and Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's a lot of weapons.
It is.
Darnell Wright, honestly.
I'm so excited to dig into Luther Burden like more. Like, you don't even know.
I liked his tape. I felt like, I don't know, I had some
I heard
questions.
his 2023 was better, right? Isn't that the case?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Is it? I had some questions about his ability, like, to separate with speed. which might have just been overthinking it. But that
Yeah.
it just seemed to me like
Wow.
it kind of felt like he was almost like running with ankle weights at times.
Bills picked TJ Sanders, who is a player I like, but I don't know if I like to trade up for him. And I think that's a little bit high for him. Like I thought he would be like I do like the player, but that's a lot to give up for him.
I mean, I was lower on TJ Sanders than a lot of people, so like that's fine. Like I thought he was a third round pick, but like I mean, his athleticism, you knew he was going to go higher than that because I mean, he ended up with like a 9.4 RAS or something like that.
Yeah,
9.38.
I'm bearing down on Twitter posted the 2023 Luther Burden highlights, so gotta watch that.
Did he set it to Luther Vandross like he did Colston Loveland? Because that killed me when I saw that.
It's just the broadcast audio.
Oh man, the Bears drafted Luther Burden. That's crazy.
I'm blown away by that.
There were a lot of picks that I was expecting. That was not one of them. I need Tom's thoughts on this.
Our offense is insane.
Good thoughts. Our offense is insane. If we can keep Caleb Williams upright.
Yeah,
like,
if Jonah Jackson stays healthy and 34-year-old Joe Tooney doesn't fall off at all and Braxton Jones stays healthy.
Yeah, and also stops.
And Drew Dahlman stays healthy because he's had some issues.
Right, a lot of question marks there. That's why, I really do think they need to get an offensive lineman.
Hey, this all becomes okay if you go getting you have 3 picks left in the top 125. You can get a running back, an offensive lineman, and a defensive lineman with those 3. You do that, I feel good about it. I don't, in my mind, I want
3 more receivers.
Tackle. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
2 running backs and another tight end.
An offensive tackle that might be a sneaky play is Adi Trapillo from Boston College. I think he's a real high floor, low ceiling kind of guy, but he can he played right tackle at Boston College, but I think he could probably, move to the left side too. And that's a guy who's at least going to give you a floor at the left tackle position. So if Braxton Jones gets hurt, he's not going to kill you in year 1.
My read is that they do like Amagaji.
Yeah,
and that they're not seeking out a swing tackle; they're seeking out a swing offensive line. I don't think Trapillo can kick in a guard.
Someone with some guard tackle versatility would be lovely.
Yeah.
All right. So who do we got in that mold?
I mean, I love Emory Jones, but I'm the only one.
I did end up watching him. I did not love him as much.
Oh, I knew you wouldn't, Steve. He's not. Yeah. He's not your flavor. He's my flavor.
Yeah.
He's angry and mean and undisciplined, but
I think I didn't like him as much as you did, but I thought there's something there because of all the things you just said. He's angry and he's athletic. So it makes sense, but I want to see who else we got.
Miles Frazier.
I love Miles Frazier. I like Miles. Wyatt Milam, I think, makes a lot of sense too. He has really short arms, so he probably can't play tackle. But if you have him on the interior and you desperately need someone to move, there's injuries and you desperately need someone, maybe you could hide him a little bit at left tackle.
Yeah, and Tate Ratledge is an interior guy only, but he might make some sense.
Anthony Belton doesn't really fit the athletic profile maybe they're looking for, but I think he can play tackle and guard.
I like him more at guard. Isn't he 6'8" or is he 6'6"?
No, he's not. He's probably 6'6", but he's like 340 or something, right?
Then he could be an option he could be an option. I didn't like his tape as much, but I mean, again, he's just not my flavor.
Sure.
I said Luther Burden only 21 years old as well. Look, 2
he
players that are both 21 years old.
When he didn't go in the first round, he tweeted a video or a picture of him working out at midnight. So Ben Johnson loved that.
I actually had a group chat with my buddies out here, where I live, and they one of the boys posted that. It was this is awesome. God, that guy got that dog. And another guy posted it also is a little bit performative. And I think I was kind of on the performative side. I was yo, I don't even know if we worked that.
The Jets went Mason Taylor.
Yes.
I wonder if
good for them.
If the Bears didn't pick Colston Loveland first, I wonder if they were high in maybe Mason Taylor in this range.
I really don't think they wanted Mason Taylor.
Yeah,
There
you
was
never
that
know.
sticky note, Colson Loveland or bust.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's the polar opposite of Colston Loveland to me.
I
I think
think
he's
I
not
would
a-
want
he's
to use
not
him in their
the-
offense or something.
He's not the blocker. He's not the blocker that he is. He's obviously not the receiver that he is, but I think he has receiving potential.
Oh yeah, no, I don't mean from a like skill athleticism standpoint, even a receiving standpoint. I just mean like have that dog in him.
Sure.
I think Colston Loveland is the like extreme of that.
Yeah.
But one guy who I think I mean, I could be way off here, but it's coming in division for me. I think they like Marcus and Bow.
Yeah, they might.
I
That's a
think they're
swing
going to
guy.
target him.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Guy who might have 4 or 5 position versatility. Like
I would say
you don't want him at
there's-
tackle.
There's
but
a lot. I don't know. I think he could play tackle.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can play anywhere in a pinch.
Yeah.
Do
in
we
a
have a
pinch,
list
right.
of the? Actually, I suppose I can bring it up. Right?
I liked him Bow when I first watched him. I like loved him, and then I just ended up at the end of it watching more, and I just kind of liked him. But I do think he for sure gives you that precision flexibility.
He
I
lives on
actually
the
had him
extremes.
I had him ranked as a center, the number 3 center, I believe, which I think is a possibility for him. But I think it makes a lot of sense, and he would probably go in that 62. I think makes sense, or even potentially
he can
109.
even
But I
wait.
think he'll probably be gone from there.
Hey, all right, boys. Let's take a second here to think about the top 30 visits that happened so far. So, if you take away people that have already been drafted,
I know Caleb Johnson was 30
Caleb Johnson
visits.
was one.
I think that makes a lot of sense, even though I really think Caleb Johnson is the definition of just a guy. But that was it.
If you want to take away receivers,
That was
after
my top
pick,
30 offensive linemen, not the top 30.
Oh,
visits.
never mind. I just saw
I
top
got
30.
confused by it.
Yeah, so
if you
Caleb
take away
Johnson. That makes a lot of
receivers
sense. I mean,
because-
Johnson played. I mean, Iowa is like pretty much 90% outside zone.
Yeah.
So like he knows how to run in an outside zone scheme. But I thought he kind of just got what the offensive line gave him, which DeAndre Swift can do, and Roshan Johnson can do.
Can Swift?
Well, maybe he can't, and I think Caleb Johnson's maybe could be a little bit better than them, but I don't know by how much. Like if it's me, like I'm 7A, so he's gone already. Omar Norman Lott could be an option for sure. I mean, if we're talking
Omar
running
Norman
back,
Lott is the only pass rusher left for top.
oh, Alfred Collins to the 49ers. I like that a lot.
Ooh.
Alfred Collins is going to be a
I
stud.
mean, you got to figure these receivers like Jalen Lane and Trey Harris are no longer
Yeah,
on
there's
the
no
board.
way they're
I
drafting
know.
another wide
Another.
receiver. But maybe we should have been more on this because they clearly met with a lot of
Yeah, it was a huge
wide
portion of
receivers.
it.
Maybe
I was
wasn't
thinking it was like a 72 and on type thing. Based
Yeah,
on the guys
yeah.
they met with. Dylan Fairchild, that could be a 109 target.
Yep.
The only offensive tackle left that hasn't that they met with was Anthony Belton.
Yeah, Belton. I think I don't know how the fit makes sense, but I think he's a good football player. Makuba makes sense.
Yeah. I
Martin,
think
that'd be a later
they
guy.
met with Emory Jones at the combine, I
Makuba would
believe.
be amazing.
They met with a few
Rashard
different
Smith
guys at
there.
the combine.
Rashard Smith could be an option, maybe at 109 or even
Yeah.
148. If they want more of a receiver. I feel like they don't really need a receiving running back because I honestly do think you could play like Luther Burden or DJ Moore kind of like on third downs, like out of the backfield. I wonder if they would kind of explore something like that. to
Also,
create
we
mismatches.
are missing at least like 6 or 7 people they met with.
Yeah,
Because that just never became public.
right.
Yeah,
For sure.
Or maybe they just didn't do all 30.
I guess. I feel like that would be weird though, wouldn't it?
Some teams don't do them at all. Rams don't even do them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, like that's like you pretty much you're taking on someone. Maybe you could do 2 in a day if you're lucky, but it would be a pretty big like walkthrough to like to have all your staff on hand to like meet this guy and talk to him and like take him through the motions of the building. Like,
Yeah, I
you
know.
don't wanna
I
give up
remember
30 days of doing that during the draft process.
I remember last year they had like 10 guys in one day. Like where it was
Really?
like they
Okay.
they wanted to see how they interacted as a group.
Oh,
Like they
wow.
were guys who they had like wanted to know how they
That's like
got along
complicated
with other
stuff.
guys. Or like I think they had like Romo Dunze and Caleb Williams at the same time and someone else too.
Interesting.
Like
So the 49ers got Michael Williams in the first and then Alfred Collins in the second.
Wow.
That's gonna be a hard team to run the ball against. Like they are gonna stop the run for sure. Can they get after the quarterback? I don't know. But
All right. I
I
like
like
jump
that
here,
fit.
fellas.
All right, see you, man.
All right.
Take it easy.
Yeah. Good to see
Bye.
you.
Cheers.
So Alfred Collins, what pick was that?
That was 43.
43. Okay. And then I know, let me see here. I'm going to pull up my combine visits.
I mean, also, I don't know if they know them, but like CJ West, no matter what, that could be a good 56, 62. That's a good range. Even
Yeah.
potentially 109. I don't know if they'll be there, but it's
I
a
mean,
deep
they
tackle
could
class.
move down again from 62.
They could.
I mean, I don't think that would be a weird, like a bad decision if you can move down 10 to 15 picks.
Yeah.
So at the combine, they met with Jonah Monheim, Tyler Booker, already gone, Emory Jones,
Okay.
Ozzie Trapillo. Yeah. So that's for the offensive lineman.
The only way they could, Trapillo would make sense is if they could still believe in Karana Magaji, but believe in him as that swing offensive lineman, like guard or tackle. So then you might be more okay with
true.
Trapillo.
That's a
tackle.
good point.
But we don't know. We don't know exactly how they view any of these guys. So, but that's just I wouldn't rule it out.
At defensive tackle, they met with Jamari Caldwell, Alfred Collins, who just left. So
I think 109. I think 109 is the D tackle range.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be some good players there. Like I'm just looking at,
and that's where you're willing to kind of clean up the scraps, probably. Where we need a guy, but like you don't find this defensive tackle talent this late most years, so we can win.
Right, and especially since what they really need more than anything is like a run stuffing D tackle behind Billings. So like usually those guys go a little bit later. I'm just looking at like Jamari Caldwell at 109 makes a lot of sense. Jordan Phillips at 109.
Yeah.
Cameron Jackson, Joshua Farmer, like all those guys are probably there at 109 and would be great picks.
Yeah, I think so. At edge rusher, I mean they only met with 2 edge rushers at the combine. Let's see if top 30s.
I mean Scourton's still on the board, 3. Right? Ezraku's still on the board too. That one's interesting.
See, I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I know I'm in the minority. I have weird draft takes. I know this. I know my board doesn't match other people's. It's just my board matches my preferences, right?
Yeah.
And like Ezraku, I see what everyone likes in him. Like he has a lot of moves, extremely agile, extremely bendy. The guy has 0 power in his game whatsoever, though.
I saw a little bit more power than that, but
I don't know. I saw it.
It was
like I watched a game of his against Pitt, and it was like every other run play. It was either good or it was awful, and there was no middle ground. And I was just like, I don't know how you can live with that.
Yeah, I agree. But I thought he provided so much value as a pass rusher that he would be off the board by 44.
As a situational guy, I get that.
The other thing I liked about him is because he was like 6'2", but he had like 34-inch arms. So that proportional length is really, really nice.
Well, he's leveraged up too, right? Like he has length.
Well, there he goes.
Leverage.
Jonathan Ezraku to the Cowboys.
And
that's big because I thought they were going to pick a running back.
I kind of like the Cowboys.
Ezraku probably wasn't really on the Bears board, most likely that it's not. That's not that bad. So
and all that was not to say that I don't like Ezraku, but he was lower on my board than most because I told you and Tom this the other day because I'm an offensive line, defensive tackle scout who's trying to understand the intricacies of edge rusher and struggling with it. Like I just don't. It's not the world I don't see the world through those eyes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean that's a good pick for them. I mean I wonder if they maybe entertain trading Micah Parsons. Not that he's going to replace Micah Parsons, but you use them in a similar role, and it's tough to have 2 undersized edge rushers. So maybe something.
Well, especially with a Zimmer system, who's their DC now? Is it still Zimmer?
I don't know, but it's Eberflus.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
It might just be Jerry pulling the levers, honestly.
Could be, yeah, who knows? It's also tough when you have a new coaching staff. Like, you don't always get that full, draft prep because, Eberflus is doing so much other stuff, getting, a whole system in place. He might not have as much a say in the draft process. He might just not have scouted all these guys himself because, he's got a lot else to do.
Yeah.
Colts pick is in. Oh, the Colts went Warren in round 1. So they could get, let's see, offensive line, they could maybe another edge rusher, linebacker.
I'll tell you what though, that Cowboys offensive line is going to be something to see.
Yeah, I like
Like,
the Booker pick.
I do too. Like I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they were asking like what pick happened, and it might have been someone you didn't like, and your thoughts instantly changed on them. For me, it's probably Tyler Booker to the Cowboys, because you're telling me you got Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, and Tyler Booker. I'm like, that's a lot of beef. That is a lot of power.
That's an offensive line as a defensive lineman. You see that on the schedule, and you're like, fuck, that's a tough game.
It's an exhausting game, and they're just gonna be able to plow holes open in the gap run scheme.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm surprised they didn't go with a running back here. Like, they got to get a running back here soon.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, or maybe they think their offensive line is going to be so good that it doesn't really matter who their running back is, which could make sense too.
And I mean, I feel like you can never write the Colts off for offensive line. They don't really need one, but like they need a corner.
JT Tuimoloau.
Really?
To the Colts.
Wow.
Over Princely, Swinson, Scarton.
I mean, they need a corner. Like,
yeah.
And there are corners.
Maybe they're just like, hey, we'll get enough pass rushers where we don't need a corner. But I don't know if JTT is really that guy, but he's more of like, a do-it-all guy more than just like a guy who's gonna get a lot of sacks.
I mean, frankly, Robert talked me into JTT pretty well.
He did, yeah, me too, honestly. But I'm okay with him going somewhere.
Like, I don't know this for the Colts. I don't. They just drafted
Laiatu Latu.
Yeah, Latu last year. They've got Kwity Paye still. That they're paying Samson Ebukam. Like,
yeah, it is.
They have a few other guys I want to see.
I think this draft is so weird where people are honestly just going the highest player on their board. Like, we've seen a couple kind of like head scratcher fits. Like, look at the Bears, Luther Burden. I think that's kind of what's happening here, because people just don't like this draft class. So it's like
they're just trying to get good football players, and that's all.
I think that's what we're seeing. Rams are on the clock.
I can't believe JT went before Scourton.
Pick is in. I'm surprised about that. I know people kind of soured on Scourton, but like, his tape wasn't that bad. It's definitely top 50 worthy. 100%.
Again, I'm just bad at edge rusher, I think. But like,
maybe you're really good and everyone else doesn't know.
I watched Scourton's tape. I watched the A&M tape. I was like, it's fine. I watched the Purdue tape. I was like, it's good. But I didn't see what everyone had been saying, though. I saw a good football player. Yeah. I didn't see what he was hyped up to be, though. So I was like, in the second, he made all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I definitely liked him better. I think with him, my biggest issue with him was that he's, he was listed at 6'3", 285. He obviously wasn't that big, but I was seeing this big. He still got pretty good size, and he refused to do a bull rush. He was always trying to do a cross chop, and I'm just like, no, you have power, use it. And so I struggle with him there, but I think you can unlock that kind of in him a little bit. And he's so young. He's one of the youngest, players in this draft class. And he was successful very early on in college. And those guys usually turn out to be pretty good. Yeah. So that's why I liked him. And yeah, I don't think he's an elite athlete, but I also thought he had a variety of pass rush moves. I thought he actually rushed with a plan for the most part. Which is different than a lot of other guys. So I liked him. I mean, I would have been happy with him at 39 or 41, but we'll see. I think there's still. Oh no, he's still on the board. So if he's at 56, that would be a hell of a pick, I think.
All right, Luther Burden update. He tweeted out. He quote tweeted a highlight video of him asking, "Is Luther Burden the most underrated receiver in this class?" He quote tweeted saying, "I've been to Underdog my whole life. That's how I like it."
All right. Chip on the shoulder, love it.
Dogs. Ben Johnson wants dogs. Wow.
Yeah, where's that video? With that kid, that high school kids, we got this guy, dog. This guy, dog. That's our offense.
That kid grew up to be Ben Johnson.
No one steal that idea from me. I'm gonna tweet that out. I'm gonna edit that video later so no one steal
it. Honestly, as I'm seeing this highlight video too, I'm kind of getting reminded. 2 of the 4 games I did watch for Burden, it was he took the game over at the end of the game, which is real. That is something that I do care about. When I see it, I make I want to make note of it, that in the big moments, this guy did it.
He seems to be kind of like that guy, the chip on the shoulder thing, the guy who's just he thinks he's the best receiver, and it's honest. He's not just saying that. I think he honestly does And to be wide receiver, I think you have to believe you are the best wide receiver and be a little bit crazy sometimes. So I like that mentality from my wide receivers.
Steve, if there's one thing in the Poles Eberflus regime that this roster lacked or didn't lack for, it was nice guys.
Yeah.
I feel like they got two not nice guys, which I'm for.
Love that. Yep.
Not that they're bad
Yeah,
guys,
I think
but they're not nice on the football field.
Another thing, I mean, with Luther Burden, he blocks.
Yeah.
Which is what, Ben Johnson needs. So
yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Do we think DJ Moore is safe?
Yeah, what does his contract look like? Honestly, I don't know. My gut says probably not. I mean, probably not. Like, he might be on the trade block.
I mean, at the very least, they're lighting the fire under him.
Yeah, I guarantee the Bears are. I don't know if his contract. I mean, he's
27. They could trade him after 26, but 20. Yeah.
So I don't think seasons. I don't hate having DJ Moore and Luther Burden.
Neither do I. I just think they're so similar.
I think they're very similar. And obviously Rome's not going anywhere. They must think that Rome could be more of that deep threat, pure X type.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he has to be your X receiver. Like, I mean, DJ Moore can play it. I'm sure Luther Burden can play it, but like most of the time, it's got to be Rome.
Yeah, I am blown away by that pick still.
I know it's so strange because it was just so out of left field. It's like
the three receivers work if Cole Kmet's gone.
That's the only way. That's
this year. Like in after next year.
Yeah, he's cut.
I think Cole Kmet
probably traded.
Yeah.
You could trade him. You shouldn't have to cut him. I bet you can get something for Cole Kmet, a late round, a third day.
Oh,
no problem.
Hey, you let Ben Johnson work his magic, get Cole Kmet a 700-yard season. I think you can get a third or a second.
I don't think there's any way he gets. I mean, how many? He might have a 200-yard season next year. Like,
you think so? See, I guess I'm still riding the train of rookie tight ends don't tend to do what everyone expects them to, and I think Cole Kmet is still probably your primary tight end next year.
Sure, but Terrence Ferguson went to the Rams, but even if he is your primary tight end, Odunze and DJ Moore are going to get a majority of targets. Burden's going to get. I mean, rookie wide receivers can step in right away, so Burden's going to get a lot of targets. You're going to have your running backs get some targets. Like,
yeah,
there's just not like. Here's the thing with the Bears situation right now. I love it that we have so many weapons. Like, I don't think we have a 1,000-yard receiver next year, just because you're going to be spread. Even Loveland's a rookie, and rookie tight ends don't always come out of the gates super high. I know Bowers did, but Bowers is a different animal. But he's gonna get targets and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had like a couple 800-yard wide receivers and a 500-yard wide receiver and a 400-yard tight end, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. If you just look at the stat sheet for all those guys, you're not going to get the full picture, I don't think, of the Bears.
Also, you will get a point here of where I wonder if Cole Kmet's contract is going to start to look like a bargain in a year, because that'll help his trade value too.
True.
I mean, he's talking about $12 million cap hits.
Yeah, with the cap going up every year, and obviously, that is actually kind of a steal, even for like a guy. I mean, he's a starting caliber tight end, no question asked, like easily. His ceiling is kind of limited, but you might be able to get a day 2 pick for him next year after this year.
Like,
pick is in for the Cardinals.
Where did I pass him? Yeah, so Cole Kmet is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th highest paid tight end right now in a year. That might be 12th, 13th, and you're talking about a starting tight end. Like, I do think you could do something there. Wait, did you say the pick is in for the Cardinals?
Yeah, pick is in. It hasn't been announced yet, but the pick is in.
Okay.
And it is.
And thank you for watching, Matthew. We appreciate it. Will Johnson.
Cardinals.
That makes sense for them.
Yeah, I mean, 46 or 47, whatever it is, makes sense. Who did the Rams drafted Ferguson, right? Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah, not even on our board. Which, hey, Ferguson is a freaky athlete.
Yeah, I didn't love his tape much.
Neither did I.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was good.
You give Sean McVay a freaky athlete, like I'm who am I to question it?
I'm surprised. Like Elijah Roy, I had Elijah Roy over Ferguson. I thought that would.
Arroyo's my tight end.
He's my 4. Yeah, he's my 4-2. I mean, he's a guy who's going to need some time, but
He's a dog.
thought he-
Like
yeah.
I think the Bears like we were talking a little bit about Mason Taylor. Like I think the Bears would have had Arroyo
It's
over
possible.
him just because of that
Yeah.
the fight that he has in him every
Yeah.
snap. I think that's something they want their identity to be based in, and they don't have a lot of it right now. Before
it's
this
very
this
possible.
draft,
Very possible. I try to do when I'm like evaluating guys. I just do this just for the Bears. I don't have like a national thing, so I try to keep in mind I do my own like personal, but then also have a little bit of a Bears tint on it. So I agree with you there. Raiders on the clock.
It's safe to say my stuff always has the Bears tint.
Yeah.
Which is probably a bit of why my edge rush rankings are what they are this year. Like, last
Vegas,
year I liked Dallas Turner a lot more than I probably would have this year.
Yeah. The Raiders traded the pick to Houston. I bet Houston picks Ursary. Guarantee it. He's still on the board, right? They need an offensive line. They need an offensive line. It's got to be Ursary.
I heard something about them loving Scorton.
Could be.
They don't need Scorton.
They don't need him. I was gonna say they don't need him, but
they love him, and he's from just outside of Houston.
This draft is about getting good football players, not so much filling needs.
Yeah, if they just really like Scorton, like
I just feel like I mean, I know like you don't want to overdraft for needs, but this team desperately needs an offensive line help.
They
like,
do
desperately. Could
it's
be like Tate Ratledge.
It's got to be Ursary, but
Tate Ratledge, Ursary, like one of those guys. Jared Wilson. I'm actually really surprised Jared Wilson's still on the board.
Yeah,
I thought his tape was really good.
I liked his tape. I think that there's some development that needs to happen there. That's tough to do with center. Like it's tough. It's tough to pick a developmental center. Not that he's developmental, but like a guy who's going to be. It might take a little time to get there. So like, I mean, I had him in the 60s in my rankings, but like that. I mean, I don't know. A big part of that's just the fact that he plays center.
Yeah, you almost need to have a starting center already in place.
And I got so burned last year when I had centers high on my board and they didn't go to like the fourth through sixth round. And I probably just knocked centers down subconsciously this year because I was just like, they don't go that high.
Yeah, I always forget about that. Like, even though he was a top 50 player on my board, like the position just
like even JPJ lasted longer than I thought he should have, and he went 18 or something.
Yeah, I mean, and Creed Humphrey went 64.
Yeah,
like
right after Josh Myers. Thank you, Green Bay.
Yeah,
or thank God Green Bay did that, because if they had Creed, I would not be happy about it.
Yeah, no. So the Texans traded up, but then they didn't put the pick in right away. I hate when teams do that. Like, you traded up.
Yeah.
You have to know who you're picking.
Yeah. Yeah. They know.
But what are they doing?
Man.
See, Breck Ackley. Bears director of college scouting, Breck Ackley, on Luther Burden. So he was sitting up there. I would say coming into the day, you obviously have those discussions. You have a clump of players and a cloud of players, and now we wait and see how they come off. But I would say, he was right there at the top to where it was at the point where it was like, okay, this guy is a good football player, and he's in the right position to take. So that's kind of was their rationale for.
I mean,
other weapon.
Let's be real here. Clump of players. We have clumps of players.
Yeah.
It was really for us, Mukuba, Ursary, Amos were the only guys that had a Luther Burden in our cluster.
Yeah.
And so we were right there with the Bears on their cluster. Like Luther Burden was the top of our stick and pick at 39.
Yeah, man, we nailed it.
Yeah, we didn't trust ourselves, Steve.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Texans select area Ursary. Yep, that makes so much. I mean, makes sense.
It does. And what pick is that? Was that 48?
That was 48. Yep. All right, so we still got about 7, 8 picks.
Let's see what we got done. So, Steve, did you happen to see this tweet that I sent out the other day?
I don't think so.
So it's a. I think it'll. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it that way. I probably shouldn't play it anyways, because YouTube will probably be like you're playing a movie. It's the Vontae Mack sack from Draft Day.
Okay, yeah.
And
just watched it the other day. Great movie.
I watch it every year. I've never actually watched the football plays. Like I'm scouting it though. And this is the first time I did, and it was all because the Brown scout. It shows him get the sack, and the Brown scout like bull rush was just too much. Got to Bo. He doesn't
And it
bull
was
rush the
not a
guy.
bull rush. I
And
said
working the edge. He is the most upright, stiff player I've ever seen. And what on
Yeah.
earth is this right tackle doing? Like,
right.
Wisconsin should be suing the movie company for
Yeah.
making their right tackle look this bad.
Yeah. Vontae Mack, also, he referred to himself as the best 3-4 inside linebacker in the league. And then he was blitzing off the edge, you know. It's like, what is going on? But yeah, I said the exact same thing. I was watching with my wife. I was like, we got to watch this movie. She's never seen it. And I was like, you got to watch it. And she doesn't know football or the draft.
Yeah.
So I was like pointing stuff out and she was just like, shut up. Like, it doesn't matter. But I was like, that is not a bull rush. But also, yeah, I also love like they're watching the all 22 and it has like close up angles of their face. It's like
Yeah.
that, you don't really get that.
Yeah, not quite realistic.
Yeah.
See, I got your rankings in here for center, for D tackles. Did you do so? I had center, D tackles, offensive tackles, and offensive guards. Did you put other rankings out?
I didn't.
couldn't find
I didn't put out them all. I kind of
Okay.
ran out of time. I was honestly the reason I was still like fiddling with my edge rankings so late, and I never really got it to a point where I felt like super great about it because all these guys were just in like the same bucket. So I was just like, "Ask her." I'm just not gonna tweet it out.
There's a lot of those guys, and those are all Dennis Allen guys.
That was the hardest position to rank for me. That D tackle was also very hard as well. Just so many guys who were in that like same range. It's like, how do you put one guy above the other? Because I have like my number grades, but I always use that as like the parameter to start, and then I base it on vibes. I move them around a little bit.
This is the first year I did that because historically I'm just going off the numbers and then I'll play with the numbers until they're where I like them, but it never feels right. So this is the first year where I actually said I'm doing the last part on the eye test. Like Tyler Warren's numbers are better than Colston Loveland for me. I just put Colston Loveland ahead of him. Same with like I think
and also with fit with the Bears too is part of that too. That the numbers don't necessarily say that. Yeah. Bengals pick is in. Who the Bengals going at with? They need who do they pick in they went edge rusher in the first. They need an offensive lineman here. This could be like Tate Ratledge, the Bengals. That makes a lot of sense. I bet it's Tate.
Probably.
That makes a lot of sense. Fits what they do.
I like that a lot for them too. I was really impressed by the growth from Ratledge this year. I mean, I think you were still a little lower on him, but like, I did not like Ratledge last year. I liked him this year. It was a stark difference to me.
Yeah, I think his injury. I don't think he was the same after the injury too. He started out the season really. I like to state like early in the year, and then he got injured. He like an ankle injury, and I thought maybe I held that against him too much in my rankings. But he's a good football player.
Honestly,
sure.
It's probably fair to because he's a guy who's going to get hurt.
Yeah,
he's missed 20 games in 4 years.
Demetrius Knight Jr. to the Bengals.
Wow. So he was a very polarizing prospect for people. Like people loved him or people didn't like him at all. And like I was one of the few who was kind of in between on him. Like I saw why people liked him so much, but I was also kind of like, he's 25 and I see some limitations. But mentality wise, he's like what you want at linebacker, I think.
Yeah. I didn't watch him, so I'll trust your judgment there.
He at one point in his college career, he was door dashing so he could support his kids. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I think I did hear that story.
Yeah. He was a team captain his first year at South Carolina this year. He just transferred in and became a team captain, which South Carolina had a few of those. They had a lot of transfers and like 2 or 3 of them were captains.
Yeah. This is a fun fact. Cool reunion in New Orleans. Rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck played with Saints tight end Jawan Johnson at Oregon 6 years ago. Jawan Johnson's been in the NFL forever, I feel like.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Jawan Johnson is entering his 6th season in the NFL.
Yeah, because Shuck was there when Herbert was still there.
Yeah,
he was like the prince that was promised after Herbert.
Yeah. Matt Miller had Luther Burden as wide receiver 1 still. I don't necessarily love Matt Miller, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. How far do you think Mike Green's fallen?
I feel like at this point he's like once you get to if no one's picked you by now, you're falling into the hundreds. I think.
Really,
Like,
you don't think?
or
I
or
was kind
even
of thinking third, but
I don't know. I mean maybe, but like it's not one incident with him; it's multiple. And
yeah,
I think teams there are probably there are 100% teams with him off their board. I think the Bears are probably one of them. So I don't think it's impossible for him to go undrafted.
wow. I think someone would take him in day
Someone will
3.
probably take him.
Like
but
in the 5th round, if he's a guy who's going to go undrafted, I think the 5th round he goes.
that's fair. Yeah, no, yeah, that's probably crazy to say that. But yeah, I think day 3 is a possibility.
But also, I don't know the details. These teams
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
know
I
the
don't either.
details.
But they have to be bad, otherwise he'd be picked right now. I mean, the talent says alone he's a top 50, easy top 50 player, probably a top 20 player. So they have to. The details can't be good.
No, they cannot.
Seahawks
Yeah.
pick is in. Seahawks easy to eat a pass rusher. Maybe it's Mike Green. Or could
I
be
feel like the
Scout.
Seahawks need a lot. Like, I mean, I feel like they just kind of gutted the thing,
Yeah.
or at least offensively, I guess. Defensively, I still probably like their defense, but yeah, they need a receiver too. I mean, they got Cooper Kupp with JSN, but not much else.
Yeah.
Noah Fant still wait. I'm still waiting for that big breakout to prove to everyone he's better than TJ Hawkinson. I have my buddy who I do the Shaving Points podcast with pulls that up on me all the fucking time. He's just like, yeah, Noah Fant's way better than TJ Hawkinson, right? Like,
yep. I mean, that was not a uncommon opinion to have.
yeah.
At that
Well,
point.
I like to say that was a lesson for me that blocking matters.
Hey, there you go.
Because if TJ Hawkinson is a way better receiver than, I'm sorry, Noah Fant is a way better receiver than TJ Hawkinson. He just can't stay on the field.
Right. Broncos are trading up. Oh, Panthers are trading up with the Broncos at 51. Who I didn't even see that pick 51 in.
Neither did I.
Who the Seahawks pick?
Yeah, Trey Amos still floating around. I love Trey Amos somewhere. I need to stay in my mindset though. Running back, O line, D line. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the craziest pick to go with a corner if you have a guy who you had such a high grade on fall to 56, and it's like, okay, let's do it. But I do feel like at 56 and 62, they have to start drafting for some needs here. It's just like there's no way around it. You need a running back, you need a defensive lineman, you need an offensive lineman, and those are the 3 positions. I think
that's what's the most surprising about wide receiver. So we were coming into this like, okay, they're splurge positions, might be safety, might be cornerback. We didn't expect
linebacker even maybe.
Yeah,
not any Iowa punters out there.
Maybe they go kicker.
Yeah, kicker. Yeah, punter, not sure kicker this year. If I mean, I'm riding. If we draft at 233, we can pick a kicker if we want. I don't care, but even that I wouldn't love. All right, Seahawks, what do you got?
Yeah, Burgundy long snappers. They did meet with a long snapper. They did have a 30 visit with a long snapper.
You never know. Elijah Arroyo to Seattle, and then Nick Scourton to the Panthers. So there you go. I don't think obviously the Bears wouldn't have been in on Arroyo. They could have potentially been on Scourton at 56, but I mean, Braden Swinson's still on the board. Like that's the guy at 56. I'm really liking. Darius Alexander potentially. I think 56, 62 would be a good range for him. He's an older prospect, but man, the tape was good. Do we go Cam Scatabo, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson at running back? Makuba. I love Makuba, but I honestly think safety, like you can't draft a safety now.
I think you're really limited on your ability to attack defensive back at this point.
Yeah.
At least this early.
Yeah.
Like if they want to go like a Sebastian Castro late or something, I think that makes sense. But
yeah,
even that, I think he's more like a linebacker.
Tate Ratledge, potentially. I know he doesn't have tackle versatility, but I mean, I'm kind of hoping Damian Martinez at 62 or even 56 or 62,
Yeah.
either one. Like I think that's the running back I want at this point.
Yeah.
And he's had to me head and shoulders above any other running back
Steve,
available.
what do you think of Dylan Sampson?
I was watching him more today. I liked him. I think he's just so undersized. He didn't give you anything. He doesn't give you anything up the middle.
Well, and that's what's weird though, right? Because it's that Tennessee run scheme. Everything's up the middle in the Tennessee run
Right.
scheme, but like they have 4 or 5 man boxes they're running into.
Right, exactly. So it's hard to project Tennessee running backs to the NFL. About a few years ago, who was the Tennessee running back? Was it last year?
Jalen Wright.
Yeah, I really liked him. And
Mhm.
obviously that was the same run scheme, but it just looked different watching Jalen Wright and
He
then
had
watching Jalen.
serious burst.
Yeah, and Samson's athletic, but he's also 5'8", 190 pounds.
Yeah, I think it's because of his size. Like, I feel like I need more instant speed from Samson, and he's
Right,
fast, but like
right.
I feel like he's not fast enough because he's small. Like
He's
it
not.
seems like I need more.
I wouldn't describe him as explosive.
Yeah.
But he is fast, so it's like it's odd. So I was not a huge fan of him. I think if on day 3 they want to take him, like yeah, that at 109, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense, but not at these picks.
Now, what if I told you their options were like Damian Martinez and then the kid out of SMU later, Brashard Smith,
Hmm.
or Bashal Tootin and Ollie Gordon?
Oh, I'm going the first one all the
Yeah.
way.
Okay.
I mean, it's mostly because Damian Martinez is the best running back of those 4
Yeah.
players, and I think Brashard Smith as a change of pace, third down running back, has a lot of potential
Yeah.
as a pass catcher and stuff. So I like that a lot. Tootin I liked, but Tootin also had a ton of fumble issues. Like I don't know if he's
That's a
reliable
good point. I forgot about the
there.
fumble issues.
Like that's like my biggest concern with him. I like had him a pretty high grade and I knocked him down once I like learned that. Because I like you watch tape and you
I
see a
loved
fumble, you're like, oh, there's a fumble, and then but
Yeah.
then I like saw the actual numbers and I was like, oh geez.
Yeah.
So that knocked him down. And then Ollie Gordon, I liked Ollie Gordon. He did fall outside my top 20, which maybe was a little bit too low on him, but I thought he was just a guy
Yeah.
for the
I
most
mean,
part.
hey, and once again, I'm perfectly willing to be the outlier, maybe too much
Yeah.
so, but like I like
Picking
Ollie
guns.
Gordon a lot.
Yeah.
As far as being like a guy you can get in the 4th or 5th round, I just
Sure.
don't think you find guys who can play 3 downs there. And he
Yeah.
can. He's capable. He's capable in pass pro. He's capable as a receiver, and he sure
Yeah.
as hell can run between the tackles. So,
Yeah. I also liked, a guy kind of like that, and I think I had them graded pretty similarly. It was a little bit higher, but Taj Brooks from Texas Tech, I thought is another guy who's not going to be really special, but he could be a 3 down capabilities and get you some tough yards. I liked him too.
I love Taj. Taj is nothing in the pass game and not very good at pass pro. And
Yeah.
if he wants to carve out a role in the NFL, he needs to start running it to his weight.
Yeah.
Like
That's
he
fair.
tries to he dances too much. Worked at the college level. He was awesome at Texas Tech, but he needs to run behind his pads in the NFL. And like I think he can. He has the physical traits to be really good. It's just the question of can the guy adjust his running style?
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I'm a Red Raider. Like, I want Taj to be great.
Right. We got Oladejo to the Titans at 52.
I knew he was going to go earlier than.
Yeah. I think that's a little early for him, but I like the player.
Dude, his tape is so fun. I was shocked his numbers weren't better. Honestly, like his pass rush win rates and stuff.
His pass rush win rate was like so low, but watching him, I was like, this guy wins a lot. Like, yeah, I never understood that. So I did kind of. That's one of those you got to trust the tape a little bit on. So I think but I also still think this is a little high for him. But he is also in first year as an edge rusher, so he's only going to get better. Yeah. And he plays the run well, and he's physical, and he's tough, and he's mean. Like he's going to be a successful pro. I just don't know what the level of success is. Is he? I don't know. I don't think he's a double-digit sack guy, but I think he's going to play good run defense and get you 6-8 sacks.
I mean, if you told me he was Alex Brown, I'd see that. Like obviously that's an old reference. That's like a Bears very specific one, but like that's what my head goes back to with these types of players.
Yeah.
I feel like he's built very similarly.
Yeah.
Swinson's still there.
I like Swinson a lot. Man, if he's on the board at 56, it's gonna be tough. That would be tough for me to pass up. But again, I don't know if Dennis Allen likes him. Who else we got,
If
though?
there's one guy who's not as Dennis Allen-ish that I think they like, I think it's probably Swinson.
Yeah, I agree. If
but-
it's not Swinson, I mean, if we do go edge, then if we're looking at like prototypical Dennis Allen guys, Jared Ivey obviously fits that role.
Yeah, I almost think he's stuck more defensive tackle just because of how he tested. Like, I just don't
Yeah.
know if that's redeemable.
Right. Like Jack Sawyer, I didn't really love him, but he could kind of fit that.
Yeah.
Ashton Gelati,
Yeah.
Jordan Birch.
So
might be
I'm
playing.
curious with Ashton Gelati. Like, do you care about this? Where like I watched him, and I was like, I see the burst, I see a lot of the athleticism, but it doesn't matter because his legs are so short. He doesn't cover ground fast enough.
It's not
Do you
something I
consider
really
stuff like that?
It's not something I considered with him, but I think that's a good point. He does have kind of like shorter legs. So yeah, he can he win around the edge in the NFL consistently? I don't know. the answer to that. And I think
It's
the
almost
NFL's
like you can be
telling us
really
something.
bursty, but if you're not covering that ground
Yeah.
fast enough, like it doesn't matter how quick your feet are.
Yeah, I also thought he had really good hands though.
Yeah.
So that will help him. He was decently long, right? I don't know if he was like super long, but he was long enough. So he used his length well, and that will help him to. What was his arms at? They were over 33 inches, weren't they?
Let's see.
Maybe I'm way off, but I thought
31 and 7/8.
oh geez, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's surprising because I thought he did use like a long arm stab. So when you get the one arm extended, it kind of
Well,
helps
so
a little
and
bit
that's
there, but-
where this is where the debate of does wingspan matter, because
Yeah.
a long arm is one arm. It's not two,
right.
right? Like, so if you have short arms with a really long wingspan, he has a
Right.
short wingspan too.
Yeah.
Like Dexter is an example of that. Dexter has a good long
Yeah.
arm because Dexter has short arms, but he's an extremely wide torso. So when
Yeah.
he gets horizontal and gets that one arm out, it's like he can do a lot of damage with that.
So yeah, I think he has the chance to be. Gelati has a chance to. In terms of guys who fit Dennis Allen's mold, I think he has a good chance of at least being functional as a pass rusher. Whereas, like Jack Sawyer, I don't think he can really be much of a pass rusher in the NFL. Or, I'm trying to think of it like you said with Jared Ivey, like he fits the mold, but I don't know if he can consistently rush off the edge in the NFL because of that lack of athleticism.
I'm trying to think of I had a comp in mind for Gelati. I never put it in here because I didn't know if what's his name? Cardinals guy.
Marcus Golden, is that it?
No, it was maybe he's a linebacker in here. He's like a barbarian, like white guy, long hair.
Oh, I don't know. Pick his who's that? Pick his in for the Buccaneers. Yeah, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Maybe he's not with the Cardinals anymore. Huh. I gotta figure this out.
The Buccaneers picking.
Oh, this is gonna drive me nuts. Who is he? Yeah, Pat Tillman. That's it.
That's Benjamin Morrison, the Buccaneers.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's good, and that's not a position we were really targeting. So we got
Yeah.
two picks. Packers on the clock now. Packers, then Chargers, and then us. Almost back.
Let's see, what pick was that? 53. Tampa Bay.
Mike
Yeah,
Green.
this is just driving me nuts.
I don't think the Packers are going to take Mike Green. They don't take guys like that. I don't think. Who are the Packers taking? Let's see. What are their needs? Well, they don't need a wide receiver anymore. Edge, cornerback. Packers might go Trey Amos. Or
Yeah, they might. I mean,
Swinson. Oh man, if the Packers draft Swinson, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna be dead. I'd hate that. Maybe I hope the
yeah,
Packers Landon Jackson. They like bigger edges too. Landon Jackson could be on the Bears' radar too. Um, we haven't really talked about him, but that would make sense.
yeah. I mean, he fit. They love those tweeners, right?
Yeah.
Like that. They love the guys who
Pick his in for the Packers.
like the kid
Yeah.
out of Bowling Green 2 years ago, Carl
Yeah,
Brooks.
Carl
Like
Brooks,
that,
yeah.
they love those guys who are
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like that's like a Jared Ivey, right? Jared Ivey's
Yeah.
kind of like a Carl Brooks.
Right. I would be okay. I was not the biggest Landon Jackson fan, so I feel like if they want Packers want to take him, that'd be fine with me.
See, I think I would hate for him to go to the Packers because I feel like he is that guy who goes to the Packers and like gets the time to figure it out and just becomes a good football player because he has a ridiculous motor
Yeah.
and loves the game and just is an athletic freak. Like you give that guy time, I think he's going to be good. You force that guy in the fire, I think he's going to struggle, you know?
Yeah.
And I got it with Gelati. I was thinking of Dennis Gardick. He reminds me
I
of Dennis
have
Gardick.
never heard of that person. So
Dennis Gardick is a barbarian, man. Dennis Gardick is just wild.
Oh, I remember him from when we played the Cardinals last year. I remember.
He's just a wild man. His build feels really similar to me to
I can see it.
Gelati.
I can see it.
And demeanor, like the energy he plays with, and just like all of it.
This
it
one
feels
also makes
similar.
sense. Packers picked Anthony Belton. That makes sense. They needed a left tackle.
Yes,
I
love that.
I liked Anthony Belton. I thought
know you did. I'm sorry.
I didn't think he fit what the Bears wanted, so I'm okay with the Packers taking him. But yeah, I mean, the Packers like their offensive lineman to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more powerful, so it makes sense. And I would say it's a reach for sure.
Did you do a video on Anthony Belton?
I did.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to put that in here because I didn't even have it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I had him. He was the highest rated offensive tackle on my board, but that is definitely a reach.
Yeah, where did you have it?
The Bears. I don't have my like grades in front of me. I just have the list. I don't know exactly what grade, like round grade I had him, but I'm guessing I had it no higher than a third round grade.
Okay, I'm gonna throw him in here because I got your video right here, in case y'all want to see how the donuts are made.
So yeah, I do wonder. I mean, the Bears did meet with Belton, so I do wonder if they were potentially targeting him.
I bet you they were, like somewhere. You know,
yeah. He might have been a guy they're like, hey, we hope he's on the board at 56, but if not, we're okay with it. Like, we don't love him that much, kind of situation.
Yeah.
We would rather have the extra pick than, and we'll take the risk of losing him. But I thought he moved actually pretty well for a guy his size. Like he's 6'6", 440 pounds, and for that size, I thought he moved pretty well.
I think he does. I think I'm just hypersensitive for his size.
Yeah,
statements where I'm just like, but he still doesn't move well. It's like, and you know this after 2 years of talking through O-line prospects with me. Feet matter so much to me.
Yeah.
And if your feet aren't fast enough, I have a really hard time getting behind you as a prospect. And for better or worse, for some schemes that's going to be okay.
Yeah.
For some, it's not. I don't even know if the Bears are going to be a scheme that's okay for that or not. I have an inkling that they're not going to be a scheme that can put up with slower feet. But it's just it's a major point for me on offensive line, your foot speed.
Yep, I agree. I think he also could move into guard potentially too, which might help him a little bit there.
Yeah.
I can put him more on a phone booth.
No, I mean, I could definitely see him at guard. I like him a lot more at guard. I'm probably too low on him because I only thought of him as a tackle. Sure. And I didn't put enough thought into what could he be at guard.
All right, Chargers pick is in Trey Harris. Bears are on the clock. I have a feeling my guess is Caleb Johnson. But there's a lot of good edge rushers. Swinson, Princely. I want Damian Martinez if it's a running back. What else we got? I missed the last couple. Oh, Packers picked Belton. Let's get that in here.
All right.
Packers with Belton, and then they picked Trey Harris. Kyle Williams still on the board too. I mean, the Bears aren't going to pick him, but let's
Yeah.
see. At D line, Omar Norman Lott's on the board. Darius Alexander. I think both those guys could be a good pick here. Swinson.
I
we
would
talked about.
really. I mean, I could just be projecting on this. I would really like O line just because I feel like the depth is disappearing
Yeah.
quick, and it's gonna keep disappearing
I think
until you're just left with nothing. Like, so
Yeah,
just
I
get it done with, and
Yeah.
then you can pick from a deep group of edge rushers and D tackles and running backs after that.
Yeah. The only thing about that is you can get offensive linemen potentially in the 4th round. It's hard to get an edge rusher in the 4th round. It's the only.
Is it that
thing I'd
much
say
harder
but-
than the late 2nd round though? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
You're probably right, but I mean, if we're talking a line like Tate Ratledge makes sense. He fits kind of what they want to do. Ozzie Trapillo, we've kind of talked about Marcus Bow,
Yeah.
Jared Wilson, Wyatt
Well, yeah, I
Milam
guess
is a little bit of a
if-
sleeper.
if-
Got
if-
pick us in.
If Bow's your guy, I understand waiting though. Like, that's
Yeah.
also.
Who we got? Come on, give me something good. Give me someone I have a video on.
We have a report on.
Yes. Lions traded up to 57. Let's see who the Bears picked though. Come on, Swinson.
Give me something good. Where's Roger?
I'm like
go
nervous.
commercial.
Come on, give me. Oh, no, I actually take Damian Martinez.
I thought you were saying Damian Martinez at first.
Oh,
and
no,
I was
sorry.
like, yes.
I've been trying to will it into fruition. Ozzie Trapillo. It's Ozzie Trapillo.
Wow.
I do have a write up on him, I believe, if I remember correctly. A video on there too. There's your tackle. I like that pick a lot. I think, like I said earlier, this guy has a floor that you really like. And I don't know if he has the ceiling, but I like this pick a lot. I think it's a good range for him. For the Bears, I think he's better than Belton. And this guy can move. Like you said, he's a tackle only. Spencer Brown comp, I like. Whoever came up with that, they're pretty smart. That's a good one.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, no, I like this pick. There's your tackle. I mean, you have some Braxton Jones insurance. I also think this tells us with Kieran, they think of him as a guard. So there's your kind of like swing interior offensive lineman. Because like we said, Trapillo's not a guard.
Yeah.
He's a tackle all the way. So this makes a lot of sense. Great pick. And you got him a trade down. This isn't a special pick. Like, you're not going to be like super excited about it, but you're not going to be mad that you have Ozzie Trapillo on your team. And I
like
think that's kind of what the Bears need.
I like it. NFL bloodlines. His dad played in the NFL. I thought I had notes in here for him. I guess I didn't. Unless I had them further down, maybe. Maybe I had 2 of him. No, just the one. Okay. His dad played in the NFL. His dad passed away when he was a kid. But he did grow up seeing some of that NFL locker room, which I love. There's a lot to like in Ozzie Trapillo's game and his profile. He fits that same thing that we've been saying. He's got that dog in him. Like, this guy fights his ass off on the football field. He's not a nice guy. Mm-hmm. So that's 3 picks where we feel like we got underdog mentality guys. And like you said, this tells us they think Karan can play guard.
Yeah. I think that's as clear of indication as good. Not that they think he can play guard. That's kind of where they're going to slot him. I think that's kind of the move there, which I like. I thought he had a chance to play tackle in the pros based on his college tape, but I thought he could be a really good guard, is what I said when they drafted him. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And I do think he has a build for guard. Like, outside like 36-inch arms, like he does have that trunk to play guard.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that too. And you got him in trade down. And if there is an offensive tackle on day 2 who can turn into a solid, at least starter for you, it's Trapillo. I would bet on him over Belton to be a solid starter at the very least. And he's a guy, I don't see him being a top 10, top 5 left tackle, but maybe he can be, 8 to 12, left tackle in the NFL, which, you take. At the very least, it gives you some insurance there.
I think his ceiling is higher than Braxton Jones.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he had better feet than Braxton Jones, for sure.
He's my
Um,
number 16 offensive lineman.
he is 6. He was my eighth offensive tackle. I did have Belton over him, but I think for the Bears, Trapillo makes more sense.
Yeah. I had Belton below him, but as far as offensive tackles go, he's by far the best on the board for me. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because
I have Jalen
Ursary
Travis
went,
as
right?
Ursary Run. I had Jalen
Yeah.
Travis as my next one. He's a day 3 guy, who I
Yeah.
like, but he's a day 3 guy. So yeah,
Like
it was kind of here or nothing.
because I don't think Emory Jones is a tackle. I think he might be able to give you some snaps, but I think he's a mess at tackle. That's why I like him at guard.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I mean, Frazier's a guard, Ratledge is a guard, Milam's a guard, Jared Wilson's a center, Savana's gone. So you're talking. So Trapillo's the tackle that is
Yeah.
really left that I think is worth investing in.
Yeah. Exactly. I think for sure. I think that's a great pick. And the question is, I mean, he played right tackle for Boston College. So the question is, can he, go to left side? They must feel comfortable doing that because you don't take him if he's a right tackle only. So I'm sure they've worked him out. I'm sure they, I can't remember if he played any right tackle or left tackle in college. I know he was right tackle this year. Let me look that up.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll get the. I'll
Okay,
check
so
to
he
see.
in 2022 he played left tackle, 646 snaps at left tackle, was the right tackle the last 2 years. So yeah, he does have experience. Oh, the other thing I remember about him now is he also lined up as like they put him on the left side of the line as like a tight end as well from time to time.
Okay.
So they moved him around. So this guy can play both. That's the others. He's not super long, but he's tall. I mean, he's 6'8", so he's got a good range.
He's got Darnell right length, though.
Yeah.
Like he's 33 and a half inches.
33 and a half, but that's still, the threshold that you always talk about is 34. So it's short arms for an offensive tackle, but the Bears clearly, they don't have that. They don't have the same thresholds as other teams do.
Yeah. I mean, I think I always think of it as 33 and a half. Like if you're under 33 and a half, that's where I'm starting to question. Yeah. If you're over, I'm like, he'll figure it out as long as he's smart and athletic. Which I know historically it's 34, but like I just it seems like there's not enough 34-inch plus arm length guys to for that to be it.
Brugler had him as offensive tackle 7, and overall 79. So maybe you could say that's a slight reach, but I don't mind slight reaches like that, especially when you trade back to get them.
You had 8 offensive tackles go in the first round. Like, I mean, they got pushed up the board. They just did.
Yep. No, I like it. Experienced player, 6'8", 319. That's a big dude. And they're I like it. I like it a lot.
Just biting the heads off bats.
I thought he moved well, but he didn't test super well. But I thought he moved pretty well.
I thought he did too. I didn't look at his testing explicitly, but I thought that he was a pretty impressive mover.
He was. Like I when I was watching him, I didn't. I mean, I guess I should take it back. He's got an 8.89 RAS score, which is really good. But a lot of that's because he's 6'8", so that boosts like his score. Like 5.21 40-yard dash, but he also had a 1.76 10-yard split, which is arguably more important.
Yeah. I mean, he's in the 7s on his agility. He's in the 7 on his broad. I mean, it's not just the height that's pushing him up there.
Yeah.
No, if you take the height out of the equation, he's still probably a 7 RAS.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this is a great pick for where you're at in the draft. You needed a tackle. You got it. And like I said, it's not a sexy pick. He's not you're not going to be mad about having Isaac Trapillo on your football team.
No.
Honestly, he reminds me of, it's very similar to Roger Rosengarten last year.
Okay. I like that.
And Rosengarten is the guy we both really liked. And he went to the Ravens, I believe. Ravens?
Yeah, he started.
And he started right away and had a really good rookie season. And it would not surprise me at all if Trapillo kind of has that same trajectory. I think Rosengarten, again, he had a good rookie season. I don't know how much better he builds off of that. May probably incrementally, but not a top tackle. And I think Trapillo is kind of the same way. He can come in, start right away, and maybe kind of level off as a good, solid starter.
Yeah. He passes the test. You know what the test is?
What's that?
If you put on his highlights and blast System of a Down through your speakers, it will feel right. That's the test. That is the offensive line test.
I am very upset because earlier today, I came on here. I said I think Ozzy Trapillo is an option, and I earlier today I was like, I'm going to tweet that I think Ozzy Trapillo is going to be in play, and I didn't. And God, I wish I would have. Scott C from Iowa though, right, is going to left tackle. Look at possible. I wouldn't like that. That's not what I would do, but I think that could potentially be on the table. I mean, Darnell Wright has been. My vote would be keep Darnell Wright at right tackle. He's good there. Don't change anything. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Trapillo's played left tackle in college. Like, make him make the move. And also, he's probably going to be. I mean, Braxton Jones is still your starter, assuming he's healthy. So he's going to be a swing guy anyway. So I think that's kind of what they'll do.
I really like this pick as I'm sitting here and stewing it. Like I think Trapillo is what you're seeking on your offensive line as far as play demeanor goes. As far I mean, he's not the top tier prospect, but if you're saying that Darnell Wright is your franchise tackle on the right side, I'm perfectly okay sending more tight end help to the left side.
Yeah, I'm looking at my video again because it's been a while since I watched him. The other thing I thought he had a good anchor, but I thought he's 6'8", so sometimes he gets out leveraged.
Yeah, that's really what knocks him.
Yeah,
that's not something. If he had 34.5-inch long arms, I think he would have gone a lot earlier. But because he can't guarantee first contact, he just gets out leveraged sometimes.
Yep. And I think that's something that you can't really fix. But I thought there were times Tate Ratledge just went to the Lions. That's a typical Lions pick. But anyway, I thought there were times with Trapillo where he was able to kind of sink his hips a little bit to help with that. So I think that's something he can get incrementally better at, even if it can't be a strength just because of his frame.
I just got the first taste of what the Chicago mispronunciation is going to be for Luther Burden.
What's that?
Burton,
yeah.
Burton's a beast.
Burton, Loveland.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really mess up Ozzy Trapillo. Ozzy Trapillo just sounds like a Chicago guy too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's like a meatball. Like that's Ozzy Trapillo.
Let's see what it was. His dad played O-line at Boston College from 82 to 86. He made the key block for Doug Flutie for the play.
Nice.
Miracle in Miami, Hail Mary. Inducted into Boston College's Hall of Fame in 2001. Was a 4th-round pick. Played 5 seasons at right guard for the Saints, and then was forced to retirement from a knee injury. So he's got some strong NFL bloodline there.
Yeah. We're gonna be on the pick clock again. I think Damian Martinez, if he's there, I would be so in love with his draft. Braden Swinson.
Oh man, the Lions got Tate Ratledge.
Yeah, that's such a Lions pick.
That sucks.
That's a great pick.
He's just gonna be kicking people's ass in the NFC North whenever he's healthy.
Yep. Did we tweet out my scouting report on Trapillo? I can't find it.
We don't have one.
What? I wrote one. I could have sworn I did.
I don't have it marked down. If you I don't have it in the database. If you did,
I have it in my notes that I did write one.
Well, it's good news if you did, because we can publish it right now, like without having to do a lot of work. But no, we don't have it. We don't have one.
I have it in my notes. I wrote one. Maybe I have it in the Tempest and didn't set it or something. I don't know. I'll go back
and take a look.
Okay.
If that's the case, I can just publish that thing out right now. Jack Besh just went to the Ravens. I'm sorry, to the Raiders.
It's also possible I put it in my notes and I started it, but then got distracted and didn't finish it. It's very possible that I did that. No, I guess I didn't. Shoot.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, I can
write something up probably.
Yeah, just if you want to throw one in there, we can get it out as fast as possible. It's still going to get people want the scouting report, right?
Yeah,
everyone wants to find out about this new Chicago Bear. So
yeah.
All right, Jack Besh went at 58 to the Raiders. What did the Raven? I know the Ravens already made their pick. I saw a message about it. Jack Betch's background is wild. His he has like 3 different uncles who walked on at LSU.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is weird because you'd think after the second one they'd be like, we're just gonna give this kid a scholarship.
Yeah, right.
Like we know he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Mike Green to the Ravens.
Oh, okay. That makes. I mean, the Ravens. That makes sense. I feel like that's a good spot for him. Going to a successful like franchise with a good like infrastructure in place.
Yeah.
That's his best chance of succeeding. So, and again, that's good because I don't think he was on the Bears board. So
Yeah, neither do
let
I.
them pick, let him go in front of him.
So are they going? They're going running back here, right? Like Damian Martinez. Is that what we're locked in
Oh
on?
man, probably that's a bummer. Who else could it? I mean, it could be Caleb Johnson, maybe. I don't know. Dylan
Yeah,
Sampson,
it could be
Cam
Caleb
Scatterbo?
Johnson.
Are the Bears going Scatterbo? Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, people seem to think so.
I don't know.
I'd rather have Johnson. I'd rather have Martinez. I'd rather have Tootin.
I think I'd rather have Scatterbo than Johnson, but I'd rather have Martinez over those easily. I'd rather have Giddens probably later on. Like
yeah,
I don't want to take Scatterbo at 62. I think that's too early.
Yeah, I mean, he fits the vibe of their draft class so far, but so is Martinez, and he's better.
Gotta be Martinez. I mean, Denver could go Scatterbo. I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Denver's already got Audric Estime though. Like, I mean, I don't know.
That kind of is like
Scatterbo can play run or play receiving downs, but like, I don't know. I feel like you already have a big slower back.
Well, maybe not. I think Damian Martinez is better than Estimate, but maybe that will prevent them from drafting him because he is more of an early down running back.
Yeah.
Maybe they go with a RJ Harvey or Dylan Sampson who can maybe give him a little bit more juice. RJ Harvey's not really talked about enough. I think he would be a good pick for the Bears too.
Bro, I fucking love RJ Harvey.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not really discussed on Bears Twitter a lot because I think he's a good football player.
Early in the process, I wrote a report on him and I used him in a mock and like I put him as like the cover photo of the mock and like I feel like people loved it, but like he didn't get talked about much after that.
Yeah, it's odd. He's kind of had like just a very quiet draft process.
Like my comp for him is like way out over my skis, but that's just because I loved him so much. I was like, this is MJD. Like I was like, the ceiling is Maurice Jones-Drew. I loved his tape that much, but like I was like, most likely Tyler Warren because Tyler Warren's fun. He's got some limitations, but his highlights are just insane.
Yeah. The only thing with Harvey was I thought he tried to balance everything too much, and didn't just and wasn't. I wanted him to be a little bit more patient. But
I mean, realistically, he was
kind
a
of
converted read option quarterback. Like. I mean, he got recruited as a read option quarterback. Like read option quarterbacks aren't running through the middle very much. You know, I think it's just natural to him, which is a valid flag.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think those are my two guys. If we're going running back, and I think this will be a running back, is Martinez, then Harvey, and in that order. And I would be okay with both of them. I have a feeling it's going to be Caleb Johnson.
Martinez and Tootin, but I'm okay with Johnson. I warmed up to Johnson throughout this process some. I watched a few more games recently. I don't love him, but he is always going to get what is blocked up. Yeah. You know, like he is not going to make mistakes in his reads. He's going to do exactly what he should do over and over and over. So like I get if you want a home run hitter and a consistent guy, I get that. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, I agree with you on that. But if we're just talking about Martinez is kind of the same way though. I think
Martinez is going to get you more than his blocked up pretty consistently.
Right.
So
and then if we're talking defense, Omar Norman-Lott still on the board, Braden Swinson, Landon Jackson, Darius Alexander, Princely Umanmielen, all of the Jared Ivey, maybe CJ West could be in this range. All those guys could be kind of on the board.
There were rumors that Princely did not impress teams very much.
So I think that's very clear based on the fact that he's still on the board because the talent is there for sure.
I mean, I have a first round talent on him. I love Princely, but Matthew K in the comments, our version of Dan Skipper, that crossed my mind for Ozzie Trapillo. like or Trapillo.
Oh yeah.
Like Dan
Oh,
Skipper.
definitely.
I think I mentioned that to you, Steve, like a month or two ago. I was like, can I see Trapillo be like Dan Skipper, like 6'8", just like monster 6 offensive lineman?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Man, the Broncos really taking their time, huh?
Yeah, really. What the hell?
Why are they showing us video of Tyler Shuck? That was forever ago. Out of Green, so Mike Green, Darius Alexander, or Turner. Is that Shamar Turner he's saying? It's the next
Could be,
pick
yeah,
who you
Shamar
got. So
Turner.
Mike Green's already gone, but I mean, I'm going Darius Alexander out of that. So I'm not big on Shamar
Rudy.
Turner.
I wasn't big on. I'm very low on Shamar Turner.
Yeah.
Darius Alexander, easy. I mean, I think the biggest knock on him was a little bit of a late bloomer, and he's 25 years old. But at 62, I don't care. He's a good
Yeah, I
football
mean,
player.
hey, he kicked ass at the Senior Bowl. Like he looked like he belonged, and like
Who did the Texans pick? I missed that pick.
The Texans.
Boy,
How far back ago? Oh,
58?
58? That was
Oh
Jack
yeah,
Bech.
that was Jack Bech. I don't have the trades in here, so it was just pick 58.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the Raiders. I didn't see a
Got it.
trade.
Yeah, because
yeah, Houston to Las Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Ravens are on the clock now. Okay. Yeah. Alexander, the Senior Bowl kind of really sold it. Like I think
the Ravens
he's
already
this
took
year's.
Green.
Yeah. Alexander's this year's. Who's the guy from Florida State that the Rams picked?
Fisk.
Braden Fisk. I mean, older. I'm not necessarily similar play styles, but just an older guy who comes in and is ready to play right away and makes an impact immediately.
I think his place. I'm kind of surprised he's still here relative to where Fisk went because I think his play style is more sustainable and more translatable than Fisk's was. Like I was low on Fisk because I just wasn't sure how that would work in the NFL. It did work. I think that he was a one gap only player. He couldn't two gap. Like I think Darius Alexander can two gap it. He's open to any system in the league.
I'm kind of selling myself on Darius Alexander right now.
I love him, man. His tape is so fun. Like
I think
so
Alexander,
impressive.
Swinson, and Martinez. Those are the three guys I kind of want here.
Yeah. Grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Darius Alexander. What was that?
I'm just trying to think of who else this pick could be. I don't know if they could potentially go back to offensive line and go as a bow. But I would
a little early for bow, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You can never tell with this, but I feel like there's a lot of questions with him, which makes him a 3rd round pick to me. It's like a guy you love the tape of, but you have more questions than answers is always a 3rd round pick to me.
Yeah. I think, like I said earlier, I think Jared Wilson makes sense because you have an infrastructure in place with the offensive line where he doesn't have to start right away.
Yeah. I mean,
the
Broncos need a center. Like Wattenberg was fine, but I don't think you're sitting there going, Wattenberg is our future at center.
Yeah. Man, they were really taking our sweet time with this pick. Come on.
Yeah.
Got things to do.
They already went corner. They could probably use a D tackle. They have Franklin Myers and Zach Allen, but you use a little more than that.
Oh, wait, hold on. The Commanders at 61 are taking Trey Amos. I didn't see who the
Broncos. The Ravens?
No,
Ravens
the at 61, the Commanders.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I missed.
Oh, wait, that pick is already announced?
Not announced. It was just on Twitter, but I didn't see anyone tweet out who the Broncos picked. So I'm very confused.
I'm looking for answers too.
That's very strange. Oh, Denver went RJ Harvey. So they got the running back. All right, Damian Martinez, just pull the trigger. Let's get our running back. Let's just round out this offense, and then we'll figure out the defense later on.
All right, so Harvey went to the Broncos. I like that for them.
Amos went to.
That's a nice pick for Washington. I like Amos a lot.
Yeah.
So Makuba's the top player on our board, followed by Swinson, Darius Alexander, Xavier Watts, Princely, CJ West, Jalen Knoll, Siobhan Ravel, Jack Sawyer, Kyle Williams, Miles Frazier. I mean, I think we're not looking at receiver. We're not looking at O-line. We're looking
Yeah.
at running back and D-line here.
Yep, I think so. I think Alexander or Martinez, the guys I want, or Swinson. Those are the three guys that I would want.
I mean, so
And
Martinez was 66 on our boards. That falls right in this range. We had guys higher, obviously, but stuff changes. We had Tootin above him on our board, but that's I don't know, like to me that's a tough argument because they're such different players. Like Tootin is your he's your, if we're gonna put it in Detroit Lions terms, he's your Jahmyr Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Martinez is your David Montgomery of like he is your bruiser, your early down back.
For sure.
It's just a question of which one you value more right here.
Right. Man, I really like Martinez.
I do too. Like every time
I
watch,
I have like Starks and Swinson higher on the board. I just feel like that fit makes so much sense. And just
well, like we're talking need right now though too.
Yeah.
Like you don't need like Swinson and Starks as much.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, we don't really talk about Booker. Austin Booker, Swinson.
Yeah.
Similar type-ish players. So like if they like Booker, they might not need a Swinson. And they do have Javon Dexter and Billings and the guy from the Falcons. God, I'm blanking. Falcons
Grady Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett and Zach Pickens is still on the roster, so you don't necessarily need a D tackle, but I would like to get one. But you need a running back. You can't run DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson back out there. Pickens in for that's Washington. We already know who they picked.
So Dennis Allen is just sitting there with his hands in his pockets right now, just kind of like, well,
yeah. Colson Loveland's going to wear number 84. I like that. That's a good tight end number.
Wait, he's going to wear 84?
Yeah.
That's okay, I guess. I was hoping for like 87. 87 feels right.
They select Shamar Turner at 62. I really don't like that pick.
Me neither.
I think I see the appeal to him. He's twitchy. He's athletic. He's relatively powerful, but I just thought he was not a very good football player. So that's a little bit of a disappointment. But we're all talking. I mean, just looking at the guy. I mean, Darius Alexander, Omar Norman-Lott, those guys, CJ West, those guys were to me clearly head and shoulders above Shamar Turner. So I don't really like this pick. I'll be honest. But hey, I've been wrong before. Hopefully they proves me wrong. I'm definitely gonna go back and take another look. And I hate to be the guy who says like, oh, the more I watch him, the more I like him. But maybe that happens. We'll see.
I was not.
I thought he also. I mean, with Texas A&M, like you were playing with a lot of good defensive linemen, and he was not the best. He was the third best, maybe.
We do not have a video or a scouting report on Shamar Turner.
Yeah, no, because I didn't think he was. I watched him. I didn't think he was any good. So I usually only pick the videos on guys that are good. That's
rough for me.
Rough one.
I mean, hey, Dennis Allen. I mean, I guess I should have been more aware of this. That does feel kind of like a Dennis Allen defensive tackle. He likes guys who can stun and move and like be kind of versatile there. I didn't think I thought the Bears were going to be targeting a run stuffer much more. So I didn't key in on him after watching a few games because I was like, I don't think he fits what they're looking for.
I thought the exact same thing. I think with him, he did play edge in 2023. Mm-hmm. He was out of edge. I actually liked his tape a lot more. And maybe they could potentially play him as an edge rusher, especially if you have him drop a little bit of weight from 290 maybe to like 275, and then that fits kind of with the Dennis Allen on the edge too. So I like this pick if that's the role they have them. I did not like him inside. I didn't think he was stout enough to really hold up inside. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. I liked him a lot better on the edge.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at his edge tape. Maybe that's what they're thinking here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen like Justin Madubuike comps, and I just don't see that. I don't see he's a very violent football player. He's a very active football player. he fits the bruiser mentality that they've been keeping this whole draft, and he's I don't know. There is a lot to like in the way he plays the game.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the results of the way he played. Like, and to me, there was a lot of activity without a lot of purpose in his game.
Yeah.
Very active hands, very active feet, constantly moving. But I found myself asking the question a lot: what are you working towards? Because you're just kind of frenetically moving without a lot of purpose to your movements. Let's see. So I've got. I'll pull this up. This is last year's way to look at it. But I know I have notes on him this way. So Shamar Turner, my final grade was a 6.61, which is roughly a fourth round grade, high fourth round. Said ultra competitive football player with extremely quick, violent hands, powerful upper half to swat and chop away offensive linemen's punches, offers alignment versatility in a bendy, pliable frame, high motor football player who stays working towards the football with contagious energy, smart player who catches on to tells and uses them throughout the game, possessive, impressive athletic traits that can be weaponized on stunts and loops, slippery on the line of scrimmage, blockers struggle to get a clean grip against his Tasmanian devil rushing style. On the negatives, lacks the ideal mass to hold his ground in the run game as a defensive tackle, has a boom or bust nature as a run defender. When blockers are able to grip him inside, the rep ends relatively quickly. Hand fighting feels more busy than purposeful a lot of the time. Upright rushing style could be an issue at the NFL level. Needs to add some pass rush counters to his attack to prevent the stalemate. A little bit too content to settle into passing lanes and play the throw. He tries to get his hand on the football a lot, but like sometimes it's kind of almost a negative where he just settles back and waits for it, which might have been a coaching thing. Lacks power moves as a pass rusher, a tweener build, not clear how he fits in the NFL. Steve, you know what? They wanted JTT.
Could be.
This is their JTT compromise.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I'm reading this pretty thoroughly. Like this feels like JTT light to me.
Yeah, I mean I agree with everything you said in your scouting report. Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm just I think he has a chance of being good. I just wouldn't. He's got a long way to go, and I think so. It's a little disappointing, but hey, it is what it is, and he gives you enough as a maybe a pass rushing specialist where I think it makes sense. It's weird because I thought he was like decent against the run, and he has some moments where he literally like throws guys out of the way in the run game, but I don't know if he can do that in the NFL because it's basic because guys are just bigger, stronger, and athletic. So I don't know if he could just win with just like brute force like that in the run game consistently. He can't really hold up to double teams. You know, he's 290 pounds. That's hopefully not what you have him doing, but we'll see. I could see him being more like. Actually, I think a good comparison would be like Carl Brooks a few years ago. We talked about him with the Packers. He was a bit of a tweener, and he kind of. I didn't like him, and he kind of worked out for the Packers. So I was wrong there. So hopefully,
I think this can't like with Shamar Turner. You are getting a tweener build, which the Bears are okay with. Like I do think the way the Packers D line is similar to what the Bears D line is going to be under Dennis Allen, where it's very versatile, very like we're all playing within head up on the offensive tackles and in, but we're constantly moving around, we're constantly stunning, doing different things. He's coachable.
Yeah.
This guy lives and breathes football, and I think that the coaching staff is going to be able to put him in positions to win.
Yeah. So interestingly, Dane Brugler had Shamar Turner as D tackle 6, and the 56th overall player board. I remember he was higher on him, so I want to look that up. So I don't know who you trust more, us or Dane Brugler, but if you trust Dane Brugler more for some reason, you'll like this pick.
Yeah.
I
remember Brugler being higher on him early in the process and being kind of confused by it. One of the comments was like one of the comments from a scout that he had was like, this guy's energy is just too infectious to not go in day 2. So it was pretty much like he's going to be a top 100 pick. We have questions, but it's the person we're betting on.
Yeah, the Omar Norman lot went to the Chiefs. So that's interesting. It's always interesting when there's back to back for the same position because then we have a very clear comparison. If
I
Omar Norman lot
loved
goes to the
Omar
Chiefs,
Norman lot.
I know I did too, and he's a game wrecker, and Shamar Turner is just average. Like that's gonna look bad. So we'll see. We'll find out in 3 years.
You know what, Steve? Shamar Turner feels to me very similar to Javon Dexter not from a actual like physical profile, but from a like what you asked Javon to be last year feels very similar to what you might ask Shamar Turner to be.
Yeah.
I think Javon is a little like more gifted at it, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see. I think there's potential there. It's a high upside swing. I would describe.
Yeah.
It's like I think the floor is out of the league, and the upside is a pretty good pass rushing 3 technique. So
you know what, Steve? The Bears have clearly been watching our project from day one and said we're going to make these guys look like fools.
Yep.
Because that's 3 straight picks we don't have a report on.
Yeah.
We wrote
that's
like
bad.
87 reports.
Oh, the Luther Burden pick still. I mean, I like that pick, but man, that came out of nowhere. And then this one didn't really. We should have had someone on this,
Yeah.
but the only reason I didn't have a report and video on him is because I didn't like him. So it's like I don't want to make a video of a guy and like bash him.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. But Steve, do you want to pause for a second here and give maybe like 30 minutes if you got it to just give a recap of day 2 for we'll just run through it and I'll rip that thing together as a podcast and we'll get it out.
Write up a day 2.
No, I mean like sit here for like 30 minutes, summarize round 2 for the Bears.
Yeah.
And then I'll cut that up into and put it out as a podcast.
Got it. Yeah, so all right, so yeah, 39. They stayed where they're at and picked Luther Burden. I think that
give me 1 sec. We'll replay the intro and like we'll come at it as a fresh podcast if you're good with that.
Got it. Yeah, I'm cool.
Okay, cool. Then let's get after it. And welcome back, folks. We are here to talk about the Bears' Day 2 draft haul. My name is Quentin Criscio. I am joined by Steve Letizia. Steve, we just got done with the Bears picks. We think, it's the 3rd round, I guess, is still about to start, but they're out of picks as of now. If they jump back in, we'll find out. But how are you feeling about the Bears draft haul?
I think overall I'm feeling good. I liked 2 of their 3 picks at least, and I can't. At 62, you can't be too upset about anything. So, but yeah, I think Luther Burden was a surprise for sure. Definitely came out of left field. I did not expect another offensive weapon, but they got a guy who coming into the season was in the wide receiver 1 conversation. Matt Miller still had him as wide receiver 1. And most people had him at wide receiver 2 or 3, and at the worst. So the fact that you can get that guy at 39, I think is really just good value, even if it doesn't really fill a need. But it gives the Bears just so many options of what to do, offensively. You can move guys around. You could play him in the slot. You can play him outside. You can play Loveland in the slot. You can play him in line. You can play him outside. You can move DJ Moore around. Can fill a lot of different roles. Rome Odunze can play in the power slot. So you're going to come out with just so many different looks that it's going to be very hard for teams to game plan and come up with a way to stop all those different weapons. So I liked that pick from that standpoint a lot. Then we traded back from 41, got an additional 4th round pick, so love that already. And then with those, we got 56 and 62. We went Ozzie Trapillo with pick 56, the Boston College offensive tackle. Really liked that pick. I think he gives you a really high floor tackle prospect to kind of mold and work with. Worst case scenario, you get your swing tackle for the next 4 years, which is valuable at pick 56 to me. Best case scenario, you have a starting capable left tackle. He played left tackle a few years ago, played right tackle the last 2 years, so he's played both ways. So I like that a lot. Really big guy, moves really well for his size, 6'8", 315, good size, good length, everything you kind of want there in a prototypical kind of left tackle. And then, with 62, we went with Shemar Turner, Texas A&M defensive tackle. If there's a pick that I didn't like, it's this one. I had him a little bit lower than the consensus, actually a lot lower than consensus. But there's a lot to like in his profile too. I just had questions about kind of how it's going to translate. But he's twitchy, he's bendy for a defensive tackle. He plays with violence, and there's something to work with there at least. And for a guy who can kind of sit behind Grady Jarrett, for a year and maybe just kind of come in and into the defensive line rotation, I think that's a good role for him to kind of start out as he kind of grows into a more every down role, which I don't know if he ever gets to, but there's at least a chance that he does. So overall, I think it was a good haul, and a good day for the Bears.
There was a lot of angst in this day too, wasn't there? Like, I mean,
A little bit.
we were sitting there on the clock at 39. It was like, my heart was racing. It was kind of like, this one, I'm more nervous with this one than I was at 10 yesterday. Like, it felt like the stakes were just higher. And when they said Luther Burden Jr. or the third, I was like, what?
Yeah,
that's not trenches. That's not running back. That's not what any of us expected here. But as we're sitting here reasoning through it and thinking it through, we're like, you read that quote from the Bears scouting director, I think it was, saying, yeah, we had these clouds of players, and he was just at the top of that cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were sitting here looking at our board, we were like, he's at the top of our cloud.
Yeah.
They followed their board. Our board was right there. We just weren't trusting our eyes with it, right? We did this work. We had him right there, right where the Bears had him. We were like, but they're not going to go receiver. What do you think this means for the Bears receiver room? That they would go get a guy like Luther Burden, who we all seemingly like, but we also, right here, our comp for him is DJ Moore.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when we drafted Loveland on day one, everyone was like, okay, we're going to run a bunch of 12 personnel. 12 personnel only has 2 wide receivers on the field. And we kind of assumed that was going to be DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. But you don't draft Luther Burden at 39 to have him be your guy off the bench. Like, he's going to get a lot of play too. We kind of talked about this a little bit, when Luke was on the call. I think, and Ben Johnson when he was in Detroit, he kind of used the wide receiver a more rotation with his wide receivers, where with Shane Waldron, it was Odunze and Moore and Keenan Allen are going to be on the field, and they're rarely going to come off of it. So in that instance, you can kind of rotate in with DJ Moore. Obviously, the comparison's there, and I think that's a very common comparison. That's not something like, that we were not alone in that comparison there. So he can obviously back up that role. But in terms of what it means for DJ Moore's future, I think I don't know, because you can't really, he's under contract for a couple more years. You can't trade him. You're obviously not getting rid of Rome Odunze. I think the person who kind of is the odd man out here is pretty clearly Cole Kmet. Maybe not this year, but after this year, I'd be very surprised if Cole Kmet's a Chicago Bear. I think you could trade him, get something for him. Loveland will be your starting tight end. You can find a blocking tight end, somewhere else, with not much, draft capital or not much money if you're signing them. And then that's kind of the way to go. But there's so many weapons now. I also think at third downs, I wouldn't mind Luther Burden or DJ Moore lining up kind of in the backfield, just giving people different looks. Not all the time, obviously. They're not going to be your third down running back, but just kind of to get more weapons on the field. You can have DJ Moore in the slot with Luther Burden kind of in the backfield, just to mix things up about a little bit. I think that makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of feels like they're following that Detroit model, right? Like, Dan Campbell got to Detroit. Ben Johnson was already there, but Ben Johnson becomes offensive coordinator in that time. They moved TJ Hawkinson out of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. And they draft Sam Laporta the very next year. The timeline's a little different, but this feels like it to me, like it's aligning for Cole Kmet to be moved in a year. Which with his contract, you can move him in a year to 2 years. I think after next year, you do have the flexibility in his contract to trade him. Now, that begs the question, like, what could you trade him for? I mean, I think a 3rd round pick is kind of where you start, assuming that he has a decent year with his contract being like he's the 8th highest paid tight end in the league right now. That might be like 12th next year.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm too high on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably more like a 4th rounder.
Okay.
Makes sense because I think you start with a 3rd and then you end up settling for a 4th, just because I think teams, based on how they're going to use that, I think teams will call the bluff. Be like, come on, you're going to get rid of Cole Kmet. You drafted his replacement. You drafted another wide receiver, another weapon. Like he's the odd man out. We're going to wait you out, and you're going to settle for a 4th round pick.
It's interesting that where they landed with all this, like because you usually wouldn't say we're going to try to create that situation, but like they've created, and maybe it's not Cole Kmet that's the odd man out. We don't know. Maybe they're just saying we're going to create as much competition in our weapons rooms as we can, because last year those guys were not playing hard enough.
Yeah.
We're not singling any individual out, but we're going to take the Darwin approach, and the strongest will survive.
Yeah. It's possible. Yeah. It's definitely a surprising pick, but a good pick. I don't think you can be mad about Luther Burden. Well, I think you get a lot of offensive weapons in, and I trust Ben Johnson to utilize them and get them all the ball. I mean, the only like issue you might run into, and wide receivers are, sometimes a little crazy. They want the ball, and it's going to be tough to keep everyone happy with those. I mean, we know DJ Moore, can get a little unhappy if he's not getting the ball. I don't know if Odunze's that way. Based on what I've heard about Luther Burden, he gets a little testy if he's not getting the ball. So you might run into the issue there. Who knows? But yeah, just get a bunch of weapons and figure it out from there. I don't think you can be mad at the Luther Burden pick at all.
Yeah. And side note, Luther Burden, kind of a pseudo local kid, played his senior year of high school at East St. Louis. So right across the Illinois border from St. Louis. Anyone who's at all in the high school football world knows a lot about, in Illinois, knows a lot about East St. Louis. They put guys in the NFL. They put guys in D1 colleges all the time. Very good football program. They beat my Glenbard West Hitters in the state semifinals back in 2009. And I still cry about it on occasion. But anyways, moving on. Bears trade down from 41. They get 56, 62, and I believe 109 in return for they also sent 72 away in that pick. They actually, on the Jimmy Johnson trade chart, they actually gave some value in that trade, but it was like 20-point difference. I think that's fine. You can live with it, especially with this class where you're saying there's a lot of value between pick 40 and 100. Like you're kind of getting in a better range there, and picking up 109, which I shouldn't say 100, like between like 40 and 125. I think there's really some nice value. So you should still be able to get a guy on day 3 at 109 who you feel pretty good about. At pick number 56, they get a guy who I wasn't expecting. Another kind of surprise for me. Steve, you said that you kind of expected this one. My logic was more that they're going to be looking for a guy who can be more of a swing interior player. I guess not, because I guess Karan is probably that swing guard to tackle. Like he can probably do a little of both for you, because Ozzie Trapillo, Steve, can he play guard?
No, I don't think so. You don't see a lot of 6'8" guards, and that's how tall Ozzie Trapillo is. So my gut says no. What we can do is he can play tackle. I think for sure. I think he's definitely a prototypical tackle, and like you said, Emagaji he's gonna be your swing interior offensive lineman now, because I don't think you keep him at tackle. This move just signals that Emagaji is gonna be a guard, and that's fine. If you get a swing guard in the 3rd round last year, that's a good deal. But talking about Trapillo, the guy's huge, like I mentioned, 6'8", 315, good length, good not great length, but he uses it well. Really good football player who moves really well. He's got a great anchor, just with his size. I would say the only thing with his anchor is, he does get out leveraged from time to time because he's 6'8", and that's just it's hard to not get out leveraged when you're that tall. That's why, tall offensive tackles do struggle at times. But we've also seen a lot of good offensive tackles who are 6'8" and 6'8 plus. So it's not that he can't do it. But I think there were times on tape where he got out leveraged, but there were also times on tape where he did play with some good knee bend despite his size and really synced his hips into contact and didn't give up any ground. There's I in my video I posted on him there, I put anchor as a strength for that reason. It popped up in college, but I think there were ways for him to to get better there. But he'll never be amazing at it just because of his physical size. But yeah, he also moves really well. Like I mentioned, we know they want to run a lot of outside zone. This guy can do that. He had a 1.76 10-yard split, I think it was, which is really pretty good, especially for a guy that size. I mean, that's good for anyone, at tackle, but a guy that size is really impressive. So I think that just fits with what they want to do. It allows you to kind of see what you have with him. Braxton Jones, is he going to be there in 2026? I kind of doubt it. I think this is kind of your replacement for him. But he'll be the swing tackle year one, left tackle in 2026, most likely.
I do like the depth they're creating at offensive tackle with this move between
Mhm.
like Trapillo, Amagaji, Braxton Jones, and Darnell Wright. I feel pretty good about them at offensive tackle going forward with those 4 players. I think that you have if you don't bring Braxton back, you feel good about one of these 2 guys being able to at least be serviceable there,
Yeah.
right? Like you're not stuck in a place where you're going, well, we got to draft a rookie at say they make the playoffs. We got to draft a rookie at 25 overall. The offensive tackles at 25 usually aren't very good. I mean, not to say that they're worse than the guys in the 3rd round or in the 2nd round, but you have a year with this guy to try to get him ready, which is different. Now, when you talked about the leverage aspect here, I do think that arm length plays into that some. He's got 33.5-inch long arms. That's sufficient in my book. It's not good.
Mhm.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
As long as his feet are good and as long as he's good technically, that should be okay. But that is where 6'8" comes in deeper for me, where it's like you are a taller stature. If you cannot make first contact, you might be in trouble when a guy gets that long arm on you. So that's where the leverage issue comes into question. But I like this pick generally. I'm good with it. I think it's a bit earlier than where I would have had Trapillo, or Trapillo. I keep saying Trapillo. Trapillo.
It might be Trapillo.
I believe it's Trapillo.
Okay.
And I do have I'm okay with a bit more of a reach here because offensive linemen have been flying off the board.
Yeah.
Like we saw 8 offensive linemen go in the 1st round. We saw, including 1 or 2 who might not have been really 1st round talents. We saw more fly off the board early in the 2nd round. Like you had to go get a guy that you liked if you wanted to add an offensive lineman. I think they did that here. There were some other guys who I still liked on the board, but Trapillo is probably the most sure thing amongst the guys who were available. Like you feel like this guy's going to be a serviceable swing, at least in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, look at the contracts that bad offensive tackles got this year. $20 million for Dan Moore or whatever it was. You can't. If you want to tackle, you're gonna have to reach for them a little bit. And I don't think this was an egregious reach. We got him at 56. Dan Jeremiah had him at 72. So a little bit of a reach, but not anything too crazy. He was definitely a late second, early 3rd round guy, I thought. So it's not too crazy. So it makes complete sense.
Yeah. And then
one more thing about him as well, because you mentioned this, I wanted to mention, but you mentioned, you don't have to, draft a left tackle 1st round next year. But also, I don't think this prevents you from doing that if a guy is available. Let's say we have the 25th pick. If a guy is there, you could still potentially do that, and then he's your swing tackle. So there's some flexibility there, but it puts you in a good position going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think at 56, like you'd like a guy to be more than just a swing, but like if you get a guy, you get a guy. I mean,
that's
you'll make it work.
That's just his floor. I mean, I think I'd be very surprised if Trapillo's not at least a serviceable offensive lineman.
We live in an NFL where it's great to have 3 offensive tackles.
Yeah, you need.
If the Bears have that, you're very happy.
Darnell Wright has had shoulder issues too, so
yeah,
you gotta have some insurance there.
Yeah. Now, at 62, we already had a surprise.
Yep.
At 39, like we already felt like there was a surprise. At 62, the Bears take a guy who wasn't a surprise to Dane Brugler, who had him 56 on his board. Was a surprise to us because when we watched his tape, we went, I don't think that fits what the Bears need. We're not even going to make a video or write a scouting report because we don't think this guy is on the Bears' radar. Mm-hmm. They took Shamar Turner defensive tackle / defensive end. He's kind of played both from Texas A&M. I'm going to pull up my notes here. I had a 6.61 grade on him, which meant a 4th round grade. And I said, which very different from Dane Brugler. Like we said, there were people who liked him a lot. Me and Steve just were a little lower on him than them. On the strengths for Shemar Turner, I said he's an ultra competitive football player with extremely quick and violent hands, powerful upper half to swat and chop away offensive linemen's punches. And he offers alignment versatility with a bendy, pliable frame. That is something that I do value highly. The bendy frame at defensive tackle, like that, those guys tend to last in the league because they don't get injured the same way, and they tend to be able to take contact without getting taken out of the play, right? Like they can absorb, they can work their way through contact. High motor football player, which fits the trend of the class. He stays working towards the football all the time with contagious energy. Smart player. He catches on to trends and tells and uses them throughout the game to his advantage. And he possesses impressive athletic traits that can be weaponized on stunts and loops, which fits Dennis Allen. Slippery on the line of scrimmage. Blockers struggle to get a clean grip on him because he's just a Tasmanian devil out there. Like he is constantly moving, constantly flying around, but that takes us into our negatives. Like his hand fighting to me felt more busy than purposeful. Like Tasmanian devil who didn't know where he was going. Sometimes it felt like to me where he's just kind of a lot of activity without a lot of purpose. He has an upright rushing style that could become an issue at the NFL against better power, and he needs to add some pass rush counters. I thought like it felt like he just got stuck on guys a lot. Lacks the ideal mass to hold his ground in the run game. On the interior, if you're going to use him on the edge, I think he actually probably has good mass out there to do that, especially for Dennis Allen's. He wants the 5 techs. He wants the head up on the defensive tackles. It has a boom or bust nature as a run defender. Again, that's on the interior. And when blockers are able to get inside of him, inside his pads, the rep just kind of ends there. Like that comes back to the counters. He didn't really have a lot of ways to work around that. And I thought there were times where he's a little too content to just settle into the passing lane and play the throw as opposed to continue attacking. And just a lack of power moves as a pass rusher that might be different on his edge tape. Steve, you watched some of his edge tape. Did you see it? Did you see some power moves to his game?
Yeah, so he played on the edge in 2023, and then when Texas A&M got Nick Scarton and they already had Shamar Stewart, they was kind of like, well, we got 3 edge rushers that are really good. We need to get them all on the field. So Turner moved inside, and he was 6'4", 290, so it makes sense. But yeah, I liked his tape better off the edge, to be honest, because he still had that same bend. He had that same explosiveness, and I just thought his power played up more there. Where his power on the inside, it was kind of hit or miss, kind of like what you said. I thought it played up more on the outside. So I do think that's where I would play him. I don't know if that's what they're envisioning, but I think it makes sense. Like we know Dennis Allen likes bigger edges. This guy's what was his actual rate? 290 at the combine, exactly 290. So with almost 34-inch arms. So length, he's got the size. I think he could be that 5 technique, 4-eye technique for you if you want to do that, or he could just be shading the tackle as well. So that's why I would play him. But I said he's a guy you can move around. Maybe you play him on the outside, early downs, kick him inside on passing downs if you want to do that. But I liked his tape better on the edge. I do want to mention as well, because it's something else I remember when I was kind of looking into him. He's had a lot of injuries. He had a stress fracture in 2024 fall camp. I'm just reading Brugler's report, required a rod to be inserted, and he played through the injury, but it didn't heal properly, so he missed a portion of the draft process, played through a torn labrum over the second half of the 2023 season, and underwent off-season surgery, following the 2023 season for a shin injury as well. So 3 different surgeries that this guy has had in the last 2 years. That's tough, and that's tough for a guy you drafted in round 2.
Also, off-field decision-making, this is from Brugler's report, off-field decision-making will be scrutinized after he was arrested and charged with reckless driving during his junior season in September 2023. Man, I don't like it.
I'm just going to say I don't like this pick.
I just don't like it. Like, I mean, I hope I'm wrong as wrong can be. And like I clearly I wrote this guy off fairly early,
Mhm.
and that's on me. But like, I just don't like this pick.
Yeah, we didn't make a video for him. We didn't do a scouting report because I watched him, and I don't like to make videos of guys I don't like because I don't want to just bash a 22-year-old, you know.
Yeah,
So I kind of was like, okay, I'll just, I'm not gonna make a video on this guy. With the off-field stuff, with the injuries, it just makes it worse. The other thing, Omar Norman Lott went one pick after we picked Turner at 62. Norman Lott went 63. Darius Alexander, I think, went 65. Those are two defensive tackles that I had much higher on my board, and I think we're going to have a very clear comparison on what this pick is like just based on that. If any of those two guys take off, like the Bears are going to look really bad. Unfortunately, I think that's what this is. I don't like this pick. Just there's no way around it. But like you said, could be wrong. I've been wrong plenty in my years doing this. Like I'm wrong every year. Everyone's wrong every year. No one's perfect. So you could be definitely wrong. I'm definitely gonna take another look for sure. I'm gonna go back right now, pretty much after this, and watch them again because I want to see if there's something I missed. But yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. But hey, we did get him in a trade down technically, so we acquired a 109th pick when we got this guy. So there's that aspect of it you got to take into account, and we'll see. We'll see if they get, if at 109 they get a guy that I would have felt comfortable picking at 62, which is possible, happens every year. Then this draft class looks a little bit different because then because I would have been Shamar Turner at 109. I think that's a good place to like kind of
I would have felt much more okay with it there.
Yeah, so if you get a guy at 109 who I really like, then I think it evens out there. So let's hope 109 goes better.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. I'm not a doctor. Stress fracture during 2024 fall camp that required a rod to be inserted, played through the injury, but it didn't heal properly, and he missed a portion of the draft. That terrifies me.
Yeah.
That utterly terrifies me, that part right there. He had a rod inserted and it didn't heal correctly. Like that screams red flag to me. I'm not a doctor, not a medical professional. That gives me a lot of trepidation.
I mean, obviously they've seen his medicals and they must have checked out, but yeah, I don't know how that could possibly be the case. Especially since that was not the only surgery he had. He had two surgeries in 2023 alone. Like there's a shin injury and shoulder torn labrum. So that's a lot of injuries for a guy you're taking pretty high in the draft, especially for a guy who I think we both agree has potential. There's a lot to like in his game, but he's not there right now. So you have a guy who needs development. You have a guy who needs time. And if he has any injury that doesn't let him get that development, it doesn't let him get playing time, it's over for him. So that's very, very risky for me.
I'll tell you what, though. Right, let me ask you, Steve. If you had to sum up this draft class so far in one word, what would that be?
I would say surprising.
Or I guess one phrase, just like one phrase to describe the class's trait or the way they play the game.
I would say violent, maybe. I'm trying maybe that's the best word because they all kind of play violent differently. Colson Loveland's trying to block his ass off, and he's going to be he's a good blocker already. I think he's only going to get better. Luther Burden is a physical wide receiver, run after the catch. He can run you over. He can run around you. Ozzie Trapillo is just a mountain of a man, strong, people mover in the run game. And then the one thing I do like about Shamar Turner is that he does play with some violence. He's got really heavy hands, and he throws around guys. I don't know if he can consistently do that at the NFL level when guys are bigger and stronger and faster, but I think all those guys play with a certain tenacity. Maybe tenacity is even a better word than violence. Certain tenacity to the game that I think gives them a chance.
Yeah, I think tenacity is a really good one to use. I had the term body blows in mind because that's Ben Johnson's term that he said over and over in his press conference. Body blows. Yeah. It was like Dan Campbell's biting kneecaps. It was Ben Johnson's body blows. That's what he wants. That's what this class is so far. It is players who are going to give you body blows. They're going to work the body. They're going to tire you out, and they're going to make you feel every punch. So like that, I think that's a good thing. Yep. Even if I don't like the value of that last pick, which kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth, I do see that violence, that tenacity, and that ability to just be beating people up over and over every snap. And that's something I think this team has been missing for years. So like that is a bright side, a silver lining here for me.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they must have really liked Turner because I'm just watching the draft here. Vernon Broughton, who's the Texas defensive tackle who I really liked, had higher than Turner. He just went at 71, and the Bears had 72. 72 was their initial pick. So in between 62 and 72, after the Bears picked Shamar Turner, 4 defensive tackles went. So there was a run there, and they clearly wanted to get ahead of it, and this was their guy. So that's just interesting how that trade kind of played out. If they would have stuck at 72, they wouldn't have gotten any of those D tackles. There's a little bit of a run there. So they must have had some intel that that was that range where the D tackles were going to go and target and prioritize that trade with the Bills.
Yeah, to get their guy in Shamar Turner. Steve, you'll understand this pain. This is my second year where I've picked a guy that's no matter what. Last year it was Hunter Norzad no matter what. Bears don't get him. This year it was CJ West no matter what. He's still available, but I don't think they're going another D tackle at 109, and I don't think he's going to be there at 148.
Most likely not. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so you're no matter what guy's off the board, plant your flag on a different no matter what guy. Do you have another guy at a different position maybe that you want at 109? Who's your 109 guy?
That's a good question. 109.
I'll try and find one too. I don't know if I have an answer yet either, so let me take a look. I'm looking running back at most likely.
It has to be, right?
Position, so for me, I mean, if I don't know if Damian Martinez is going to be there, but he would be my guy if he is. DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, I think is good. But Bashal Tutin, those guys are kind of your guy you're looking at 109. If they can come away with one of those guys, I would have been okay with any one of those guys in 62. So I think we'd be in good shape.
Jaden Blue, no matter what.
Jaden Blue. I was watching more Jaden Blue today. I liked him. I thought maybe it was a little bit too low on him. I think he gives you something, especially.
I had him in the top 125. Mm-hmm. So like that fits the range of who I think will be there. And I think I called him the Michelob light version of Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I think that he fits what the Bears want to do really well. And I think you're going to have a lot harder time finding that piece at 148 than you will the bruiser. Like I think a guy like Ollie Gordon or maybe even a DJ Giddens might be there at 148. I don't think Jaden Blue has a chance of being there.
Yeah, we'll see. I also think there's a small possibility that the Bears maybe even trade up from 109, maybe back into the end of the third round potentially. We saw them do that last year with Austin Booker. So if they have a guy that they like, and it's this draft class has very good talent, I believe, in the middle rounds, but that it kind of really falls off a cliff. So they might not really value 148, that pick, and just package 148 with 109 to get to 90 something or whatever it is, and maybe get a guy too. So we'll see.
It's certainly possible. Yeah. So, so they still got 109, they got 148, and they have the 1/7 rounder on top of that.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So 233.
But really, they got 2 picks that I think are still that 233 is kind of, whatever.
Yeah.
But 109 and even 148, you might still be able to get someone at 148. So I think they have 2 picks that they could still get maybe contributors, if maybe not star power, but contributors at least. So.
Oh man,
we'll hope for the best.
I don't know, man. I guess Jaden Blue is my guy. Because I'm starting to think like, well, you have Swift. Like Swift is gonna be one of your running backs this year. He's gonna play a real role. I don't know if you can use your next 2 picks each on running back. No. So at that point, it's like at 109.
It's Damian Martinez if he's there. I don't think he's going to be there. But Dane Brugler did have him as like running back 17. So according to Dane Brugler, he probably will be there at 109. According to, I don't know where did Jeremiah have Martinez?
If Damian Martinez is there, that's it. But
here's the thing: Damian Martinez was not in Daniel Jeremiah's top 150, and he was running back 17 for Dane Brugler. Like those guys are tuned in. Like according to them, Damian Martinez most likely will be there at 109. So that would be, such a home run pick.
You're going with Damian Martinez no matter what.
Yep.
I'm not doing the same thing.
Okay, what do you got?
Dane Brugler has this guy as a 4th round pick as well, his RB14. Ollie Gordon the second, no matter what.
All right. I like it.
I think both those two, they give the Bears a real back that complements Swift.
I think it makes sense.
All right.
They need a running back, so yeah, hope for the best.
Hope for the best. That's all we can do. Apparently, we can't write the right scouting reports because we didn't get a single one right today, but which is shocking.
Hey,
We write 87, but here we are.
We nailed Colson Loveland at 10.
We
I
did.
think we've got to be proud about that. We had that in our mock draft. I think we got to be proud about that, and we put a lot of good work out there. So
Yeah.
hopefully fans of other teams are really enjoying our scouting reports.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully. But Steve, any final thoughts before we close this thing out?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. I'm just excited to see what they do on day 3.
Me too, man. Me too. Well, let's get out of here with just a good old bear down, and we'll go get some dinner.
All right, sounds good. Bear down, everyone.
Bear down.